It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming from the Cowboy State Daily News Center. I'm Reese.
Safe on the roads. Motorcyclists, be sure to wear high visibility gear, and drivers, look twice and save a life. This Safe Driver update is from the Wyoming Department of Transportation.
My name is Tom Kelly, and I'm running for the Republican nomination for Superintendent of Public Instruction. An important duty of the superintendent is to make decisions on the State Land and Investment Board. Wyoming has serious challenges and big choices to make around energy and economic development. As a member of the board, if I know something, you'll know something. With full transparency, Wyoming can take advantage of the economic opportunities without letting mega corporations take advantage of us. I'm Tom Kelly, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Tom Kelly.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. Dr. Eric Cuban, whom Governor Gordon sought to remove from the Wyoming Board of Medicine, has won his appeal halfway. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports
he had lobbied in favor of a bill to ban child sex change treatments across the medical spectrum. I mean, including surgeries, including puberty blockers. And so when Gordon pushed him off the board, the governor was saying, look, the doctors that you are adjudicating have to know that you're not biased. So Cuban sued, alleging the governor had violated his First Amendment rights.
Though Cuban showed a strong enough case for retaliation to revive his official capacity claims, he didn't prove Gordon was violating a clearly established right, the appeals court ruled. A Jackson man is accused of blasting another driver twice with bear spray during a Sunday road rage showdown, leaving the victim struggling to breathe. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he admitted to using bear spray on the other driver, but told police it was self-defense.
Investigators say that 39-year-old Leonard Dominguez on Sunday admitted to spraying another motorist on the road with bear spray not once, but twice. Both drivers said that one person cut the other person off. They ended up pulled over on the side of the road. And when the man approached Dominguez's driver's side window, Dominguez sprayed him with bear spray. And then the man kind of stumbled back to his car. And that's when Dominguez sprayed him again. He made a first appearance in court on Monday, and he was charged with felony assault.
The investigating officer wrote that bear spray is intended to stop bears, not people, and can cause severe eye injuries, swelling, airway constriction, and potentially life-threatening respiratory complications when used at close range. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.
In today's digital world, it's hard to know who to trust. Your local TV and radio stations bring you the facts. Misinformation and deep fakes flood social media, but broadcasters deliver verified and accurate news. For news, emergency updates, sports, and entertainment, turn to your local stations. Text TV to 52886 and urge Congress to support the vital local journalism broadcasters provide.
And we're getting to it on a Wednesday, July 22nd, Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake. Fantastic lineup for you. Looks like this. Stephen Blank will be here to talk about Greenland and President Trump's pursuit of some kind of Greenland occupation or ownership. Grant Newsham drops in. Colonel Newsham's military background makes him a perfect person to talk about China, Japan, Taiwan, and the implications with the war in the Middle East. Tyler Lindholm makes an appearance on behalf of Americans for Prosperity. Eric Barlow stops in. He's running to be your next governor. He's conducted a poll that found he's the winner, or he's winning. Julie Jarvis makes the scene, running for House District 57. Trying to repeat there, but she's got a tough challenge from Jeanette Ward, and that's a repeat of a showdown from 2 years ago. Jared Petrino to talk UW sports. Katie Bonjean makes the scene. Village Cooperative and a unique living space for those 62 and over in the Cheyenne area. Jim Magagna, it's all about livestock, beef, sheep, it's all good. And Bridger Knox, the 9-year-old, a.k.a. Swamp Moose. Yeah, you had to have read the story. Bridger's the Swamp Moose. He's coming on with his dad, Steve. And certainly the question we got to ask Bridger is, whatever inspired him to dress up like a swamp moose? Hang on while I take care of a couple of things here this morning. First thing in the show, had a power bump. Wouldn't you know it? And trying to figure out what I need to do to fix that. Oh my goodness. It's harder than you might think. And I'm just going to have to give up. Here's the weather forecast. We can go to that. Big stories, though, in the Cowboy State Daily from last 24-hour period. We got to definitely outline some of those. Casper, you got a flood watch till tomorrow morning. Patchy smoke, a little bit of everything, right? You got heat, sunny and 91, plus smoke, plus breeze, plus a flood watch. You got everything but snow. Dare I say that word. Riverton flood watch as well, smoky. A chance of rain in the afternoon with highs 91. Evanston rain near certain today. 81 the high. Riverton flood watch with a chance of rain showing up at about 2 in the afternoon. Otherwise, 89, mostly sunny. Pinedale flood watch till tomorrow morning. Chance of rain showing up early afternoon. Highs 81. Alpine, you'll top out at 87. Can't rule out flood conditions as rain is heading your way, Alpine. DuBois as well, even though DuBois is built right up there on a hill, on a mountain. Chance of flooding in DuBois. Rain today, almost certain. Highs 78. Jackson, flood watch. Chance of rain. That'll show up in late afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny, 85. Thermopolis, flood watch. Patchy smoke. And rain showing up mid-afternoon with highs 92. Cody, flood watch, patchy smoke, rain 86. Buffalo, flood watch, some smoky skies. Rain likely in the afternoon, 85 the high. Sheridan 90 with flood conditions perhaps. Slight chance of rain in Newcastle, otherwise mostly sunny, mid-80s. Torrington, sunny, 89. Maybe overnight rain in Torrington. Wheatland, slight chance of rain in the afternoon, otherwise mostly sunny, 88. Cheyenne, rain, 3-ish in the afternoon, 84 the high in Cheyenne. Laramie, you'll top out just 78. It's a cool spot in the state, Laramie. With chance of rain in Laramie as well. Slight chance of rain in Rawlins, otherwise mostly sunny, 83. Well, there you are. I want to fire off a message to my higher ups and let them know we had a power disruption. Yeah. Stand by. Because that knocks, I think that knocks us off the website, unfortunately. But you should see us regular on the Facebooks, on the YouTube, and of course, radio stations everywhere. We're in all the normal places, I'm thinking, with the exception of our homepage, which will be coming shortly. So stories that we certainly got to get to. Oh, now my stories went away because of the power outage. Stand by. The Eric Barlow poll I thought was interesting. If I'm handicapping the governor's race, and again, this is just my armchair quarterback politics. I have no access to polls. I don't do polls. Like, I am just going by a couple of things. Internet traffic, like how much I see someone's name pop up, the general vibe I get when I see political stuff regarding the governor's race, from the comments, from the trolls, I take it all in and digest it somewhere in the back of my brain. Somewhere where I keep baseball statistics. I'm constantly churning over the gubernatorial race. And in that dark recess of my mind, dominated by politics and baseball, I'm thinking Barlow and Bien are kind of neck and neck. And as much as I really enjoy Megan Degenfelder and her role as currently state superintendent of public instruction, I've got to think she's running third here, running show. Bien maybe place, Barlow maybe the win. Bien Barlow for me is too close to call. If I were to just speculate, throw it out there. I don't. What do you think? I don't have an opinion as to who I want to see win. Again, if you think I'm biased or leaning in politics, you have no idea. Because I think listeners, hopefully at this point, you know that politics is not my thing. I don't care who's run. I really don't care who's running the show. And I know that's, in one way, that may be horrible to say, like, aren't you American? Don't you want to exercise your right to vote? Don't you care about, who's run politics? Whoever's in office is going to affect your life. I heard all those arguments. Don't care. Don't care who's governor. Whoever's in will hopefully do a good job, lead the state in a great direction. But if I don't like where Wyoming's going, I'll get out. Same way I got out of the last place I was in. I mean, I'm not going to get all wrapped up in politics. I'm just not. So I don't care who wins. Good luck to everybody. I don't have a dog in the fight. But Eric Barlow, gubernatorial campaign, released an internal poll yesterday. Now, of course, they're doing the poll. So what do you think the poll is going to find? It's not going to find anything but Eric Barlow winning. I assume this is the fox in charge of the hen house. Eric Barlow says, guess what? We did a poll and we are winning. Eric will be on later to talk about that poll and maybe just what is about it. What are the analytics of it? How did he do it, etc. But from his poll, according to his internal polling numbers, 42% of voters support Eric Barlow. He's got Megan Degenfelder in second at 19% and Brent Bien third at 14%. Okay. And by the way, the cat wants in here. He's probably caught another bird. Nope, not coming in. My other assessment, where I also gather my Kalshi, my DraftKings handicapping in the gubernatorial race, is signs. I think political signs are important. Even though, signs, they're kind of eye litter, they're clutter. And I want them taken down immediately after the race is over. But I think they're crucial. I think they're important in a state like Wyoming. And in a statewide race, I think they're of lesser value for like U.S. Senate, U.S. House. I'd rather see the signs for somebody super local. Who's running for sheriff in this county? And how many signs does he or she have? That's important to me because it tells me you got some hustle. You care about this. You're out there. And it tells me somehow you've managed to convince landowners to allow this sign to go up somewhere. Many cases, that's private landowners. In some cases, a public place where it's okay to put a sign. But I think signs are important. And I've seen a ton of Barlow signs. Who hasn't? With the L-O and the line over the L-O. So we know how to say it. What, is there another way to say Barlow? B-A-R-L-O-W. How would you say it? Barlow. I'm not sure the L-O. Maybe that's something we can ask Senator Barlow when he's on. What would the L-O? But I've seen, in my travels around the state, and who of us hasn't put in windshield time? It's one of the unique things about Wyoming that we all share pretty much. We drive a lot. And we have opportunity to see many signs. And it does, you might think it isn't, but it's making a subliminal impression, I'm sure. Oh, another Barlow sign. You put that in the back of your mind. Oh, another BN sign. Oh, there's a Degenfelder. I saw equal amount, maybe a little more Barlow signs close behind BN, less from Degenfelder. So if I'm doing just the sign race on the governor, I'm making it Barlow, BN, Degenfelder in that order in my mind. And I don't know, that's just how I see it. But how Barlow sees it, Eric Barlow and his folks, they see him in the lead. 42% of the voters supporting him, 19% behind Degenfelder, 14% behind Brent BN. How about, man, it doesn't get more ranchy than this. How Western is this? How truly Wyoming, although it happened in Montana. Maybe we want to claim this as Wyoming's own son. A 14-year-old probably saved a man's life from drowning in the Yellowstone River by roping him. And that is as Western as it gets. 14-year-old Jory Thomas, who he's one of those rodeo ranch kids who you rarely find without a rope. They're at every rodeo. They're at everything. This kid just travels with his rope. And he's constantly swinging a loop. Constantly building a loop, swinging a loop. He's roping his sister. He's roping the border collie. He's roping random fire hydrant. Whatever will present itself and fit in his loop, Jory's probably roping it. And Jory Thomas heard the shouts of a man who was in a boat in the Yellowstone River up in outside of, he's from Big Timber, Montana. And this happened on the Yellowstone River, I think, in Montana over the 4th of July weekend. And the boat flipped. It hit a bridge abutment and flipped. And into the water go all three occupants. 2 swim to shore safely. The third clinging to a cooler and yelling for help. Jory gets there, and of course he's got his rope. I mean, he's hanging out in camp over 4th of July weekend, swinging a rope. And he runs to the shore, empties his pockets, wades into the water close enough, and tells the man, "Let go of the cooler." And the drowning man says, "I don't know. Are you sure?" "Let go of the cooler," Jory says, 14-year-old. Okay. He lets go. Jory lets fly. And man is roped and saved. And by the way, a new arena record for roping a drowning man.
A good life begins with a good company. Powder River Energy Corporation, or Precorp, a consumer-owned electric cooperative in Northeast Wyoming, has careers in accounting, member service, and engineering. Precorp is always striving for A-plus service, great rates, and being a trusted energy partner. Their work environment is driven by knowing your role, living your values, and making your career plan. If you are looking to be part of an industry leader, then look no further. Go to precorp.coop/employment opportunities and apply today.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Those 9 months were also 273 days of planning. What about your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. And let's not forget those barbecues you plan in detail for your family and your more vegetarian by the day best friends. That surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
When the uniform comes off, the battle doesn't always end. Too many of our veterans are fighting silent wars with trauma, with loss, with hopelessness. Downrange Warriors stands in that gap, offering peer support, purpose, and a brotherhood that saves lives. You can help. Visit downrangewarriors.org because no warrior should ever walk alone. Hope is waiting. Be the reason they find it.
Okay, we are back to it. I think, still trying to get on the homepage. We're working on it. Meanwhile, we're just rolling along here on a Wednesday. Stephen Blank will be here. It might be Stefan. I can't remember. We had him on the show before, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. I can't remember. My memory is not what it used to be. Let's go to the Zoom room and yeah, there's our guest. Is it Stephen or Stefan?
Stephen.
Stephen?
Oh, Stephen. Stephen's fine. Yeah.
Dr. Stephen Blank, non-resident senior fellow in the Foreign Policy Research Institute's Eurasia program. We're going to Eurasia. Buckle up. He's published over 900 articles concerning Soviet, Russian, U.S., Asian, European military. We're going to talk primarily about Greenland and President Trump's obsession with taking ownership of it, or I'm not sure. Certainly, Greenland has military implications. It's a great place to be set up. And I wonder how much of it is driven by, if we don't do it, Russia and China will. They've been buzzing around that island. So, Dr. Blank, where do you want to start with the whole Greenland thing? President Trump, through NATO, has made his feelings clear. President Trump's had an on-again, off-again relationship with NATO. Lately, he seems to be buddy with him again. And are they going to help him get Greenland? And why do we want Greenland?
Okay. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Greenland is strategically important because it has a major location off the Arctic Ocean. And the Arctic Ocean has become vital for a couple of reasons. One, because nuclear-powered submarines having either conventional or nuclear weapons can sit in the Arctic and threaten either the United States and Canada, as well as Europe, or Russia, depending on whose submarines they are. Second, the Arctic has a great deal of rare earth minerals that now have become vital to the functioning of the defense and high-tech economy, as well as an enormous amount of oil and gas. Nobody really knows how much. The last survey was 20 years ago by the U.S. Geological Survey. But it's therefore strategically important. And of course, it borders on several countries, Alaska and the United States, Canada, Russia, Finland, Sweden, and Norway, and Greenland, which is part of Denmark. Now, the argument in favor of American action is that both Russia and China have shown that they are interested in setting up shop on Greenland, and Greenland has a very small population and military. So the argument goes that they would be unable to defend themselves against this kind of encroachment by either Moscow or Beijing, or maybe both of them. The contrary argument is much stronger. First of all, we have a treaty with Denmark from 1951 that allows the U.S. military to do pretty much what it wants to do there, as long as it consults Denmark, who is our ally and treaty member of NATO. So all this hullabaloo about taking Greenland and so on is nonsense. It has no basis in reality, and there's no need for it. If the United States government, and this would be true whether it was Trump or Clinton or Biden or Reagan or whomever, wanted to do something militarily on Greenland, all we have to do is consult with Denmark. We would probably get approval. Well, not only that, we'd get support, which is vital, from Denmark and other NATO allies, and we would be able to do whatever we think needs to be done. So this is really a tempest with no basis in reality. If Trump believes that there's a threat of some sort, and perhaps the intelligence is showing that, then all he had to do is come to the government in Copenhagen and say, here's our information. We think this needs to be done. Would you support it? And they would probably say yes. And not only would they say yes, they'd help us. And probably NATO allies would help us. Instead, he has undermined allied trust in the United States to a very great degree. You don't threaten your allies that you're going to invade them. The Danes actually were getting their planes ready to block an American landing there. This is unheard of. It's absolutely ridiculous as well.
Yeah. President Trump going about it maybe a wrong way. So, Dr. Blank, is there any U.S. presence in Greenland now? Any bases, anything?
Yes, there is. It's a small base. It could be expanded. If necessary, other bases could be set up with the support of Denmark and the local government in Greenland. So again, there is no need to make a crisis out of this. If there is a Russian or Chinese challenge that requires military action of some sort, we have the means to do it without making a crisis.
So in that theater, in that area of the world, Greenland, a location in Greenland would be strategic. The U.S. already has some presence, but it seems President Trump is not satisfied with a base hit or a bunt here. He wants the home run. I think maybe, obviously, ownership of the country would allow him to extract rare earths, would allow him to get after the oil. He wants the whole deal, but that has definitely ruffled Denmark. What is the Denmark-Greenland relationship? Does Denmark really run that island?
Yes, Denmark has sovereignty over Greenland, but the Greenland population has what you might call local autonomy. It's what comes to mind as an analogy is Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Okay. again, if the United States wants to explore for rare earths, the Chinese did and do, all we have to do is say to Denmark, we would like to invest there. There are properties there. It would be a straightforward business deal. Again, there's no need for an international crisis. As I said to you, the Treaty of 1951 between the United States and Denmark allows the United States government and military basically to achieve whatever needs to be done in consultation with Denmark, who is our ally and would probably agree with us when we present the case. So there's no need to start all this talk about invasion and threats. It's crazy.
Yeah. Let me ask you about another player that comes up once in a while, Finland. If the U.S. wants presence in this area of the world for military bases, for operations, whatever, is Finland a player at all?
Finland is a player to some degree in the Arctic, but particularly in the Baltic. Again, it's a member of NATO, so it's a treaty ally of the United States, along with the other 31 members of NATO. And there are exercises. There's already talk of putting American forces in Poland, which is also on the Baltic and in the Baltic states. The Navy is there already in tandem with other NATO fleet member states' navies. And President Stubb of Finland and President Trump get along famously. So I don't see any problems in the U.S.-Finland relationship. However, once again, this idiocy, and that's what it is about Greenland, has poisoned the feelings of Europeans, not just Danes, about Trump and the United States, and has undermined the trust that is necessary to make NATO as strong as possible.
Yeah, it's called into question a lot of things. It's poison maybe more than certainly anyone living in Greenland, all, 5 of those people. There's not many. And then, whoever's in Denmark, he's also ruffling feathers, I think, in Europe. President Trump has threatened to pull military forces out of Europe. There's U.S. military presence in Europe. And President Trump threatened, he's like, Europe's not the same as it was 20 years ago. We're going to take all the troops that are in Europe that we have and concentrate on Greenland. And how does that play in the countries in Europe?
Well, I think you exaggerate the situation. He threatened to take out about 9,000 to 10,000 total troops from the continent of Europe. And that was separate from all this crisis over Greenland. Trump got the Europeans to finally start paying more for their own defense. But again, he did it by abusing them. That only works to a limited degree in interpersonal relationships as well as in international politics. You don't get flies with vinegar as much as you do with honey. And the problem here is that every NATO intelligence agency, so that's 33 or 32 agencies, have said that within the next 3 to 5 years, the Russian government will be capable of mounting an attack on Europe. So in other words, the threat to Europe from Russia is as great as it ever has been since the end of the Cold War. It's at its greatest since the end of the Cold War. You don't pull out American troops just like that from Europe. If you need to pull out American troops from Europe, and the case can be made for doing that, you need to do it in a systematic, orderly way in consultation with your allies so that you do not weaken the alliance. And here again, he has undermined trust and confidence in the judgment of the American government.
Dr. Blank, you talk about Russia and the relationship there with Europe. Russia might be stretched a little thin with the ongoing Ukrainian conflict. China certainly is amassing a war machine and capable of striking. The United States also kind of stretched thin. On one side, President Trump can threaten to take over Greenland, and that threat may be taken seriously. After all, we went into Venezuela and took that overnight. And then President Trump threatening to do similar with Cuba. I mean, and then we got the Iran war going. So how many things can the U.S. do at once?
Very few, to be honest. And you could see how badly the war in Iran is going. Venezuela was a one-off, unique conditions. Cuba, we would have to fight. That government will not go quietly, despicable as it may be. But you have to look at these things realistically. The same thing, we didn't look at Iran realistically. There was not enough strategic planning. There still isn't. The Senate hearings yesterday showed that the Defense Department still does not have a clear idea of what it's trying to accomplish. The president certainly has no clear idea of what he's doing because he's bombing, and bombing doesn't get. We have over 80 years of military history that tells you that bombing alone does not achieve a strategic outcome.
I mean, if you're a president that should be advised to read the room, so to speak, I think a lot of voters, U.S. citizens, are not happy with what's going on in Iran. In general, they might have been for it, but they don't like the way it's being deployed. They don't like the lack of an end game, and they certainly don't like filling up the pickup truck with gas. I can't imagine Greenland, should the United States make any threats to take over that country, that would not poll well with U.S. citizens, I wouldn't think.
Well, the Greenland issue is off the table for now, so you don't have to worry about that because we have our hands full. But you're absolutely right. And I grew up during the Vietnam War, and there should be a lesson here for any president. And George Bush Sr. understood it. If the United States government feels that it has to go to war in defense of the national interest, then the president needs to go to the public and to Congress to get approval.
Dr. Stephen,
he has to explain why this is necessary.
Yeah. Dr. Stephen Blank with us, non-resident senior fellow, Foreign Policy Research Institute. Thank you so much for spending time with us, helping us understand Greenland and what's going on in the world.
My pleasure.
Have a great day. Cowboy State Daily Show continues after this quick break.
This is Robert Short, candidate for Secretary of State. I've built businesses in Wyoming, served as an election judge, and worked diligently the past 11 years as a county commissioner to create collaborations and partnerships with stakeholders around our state and nation to benefit the people of Wyoming. As your next Secretary of State, you can count on me to put these skills to work for the benefit of you, the people of Wyoming. Vote Robert Short, Secretary of State. Visit shortforstate.com for more info, paid for by Short for State.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Hi. I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. Here, this is pretirement.org.
Retirement savings options? Potential tax breaks?
Move.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
You got this.
Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan.
The topic is going to continue to be international with our next guest as we went to Greenland, Eurasia just a moment ago with Dr. Stephen Black. And President Trump's recent doubling down on Greenland. He has not forgotten about it. Remember, that was an early term desire of the president that for a lot of us came out of the blue. President Trump was sworn in, promised to, make groceries affordable, not get us in a war, and bring down the price of gas. You judge how that's going. Along with the list of things he wanted to accomplish and promised was a desire to seize Greenland, to buy it or take it. And he's mentioned both. I wasn't sure where that was coming from. I didn't know Greenland was so high on the list of nations that the U.S. wants. But yeah, I see the strategic military locations, certainly in that Eurasia theater. You would want presence if you were in the Western world, like the United States. You would want presence, perhaps in Greenland. It would put you in a good spot to launch inner what do you call it? The ballistic stuff, missiles. You would have nuclear sub base. You would have good presence in that area of the world. And then on top of that, why not just build bigger bases? Make an agreement with Greenland. Say, can we make some trade-off and have more military presence on your island? After all, Greenlanders are not really using their nation to its full potential. There's hardly anybody there because it's freezing cold. Greenland is ice and Iceland is green. Remember that? We all learned that in elementary school. And Greenland is cold, man. So a lot of that country goes unused and is buried in snow and ice. But President Trump might have he might have inclinations toward the rare earths. The Greenland might have some oil. I mean, there's reasons, I guess, why you would want to take full ownership rather than just beef up military presence and bases. Okay, on that similar subject, let's go to the Zoom room again. Colonel Grant Newsham joins us. You saw him last, I think it was back in May we chatted with him, something like that. Colonel Newsham, we were just in Greenland, by the way, speculating on if the U.S. wants to seize or buy or somehow take ownership of Greenland and why that might be a strategic thing. With you, I want to go to maybe China, maybe Japan, Taiwan, and certainly starting with Iran and how that may draw in China, and it gets complicated. Grant Newsham, one of the most widely cited retired U.S. military officers on China, Indo-Pacific security, political warfare, etc. Retired U.S. Marine Corps colonel, but you're never a retired Marine. You're always a Marine.
That's true, yeah.
Also author of the book, I hope you ordered, read it, and have it somewhere on the bookshelf back there, the 2023 book, When China Attacks, A Warning to America. It's an Amazon bestseller. Colonel Newsham, let's start with U.S.-Iran. I think maybe, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, no matter when you would talk about this on the time frame, it has gone up, down, and mostly bad. Where are we now? Escalated hostilities, President Trump retaliating for the 3 service members killed, and he's bombing away.
He is. He's doing now what he should have done at the very beginning. They should have hit the Iranians much harder, and they had a lot of military targets they didn't even go after. But even more, they didn't go after the transportation network. They didn't take down bridges, for example. They didn't take out the railroads, the trains. They didn't take down the communications network so that the Iran TV was broadcasting throughout this. They didn't take down the electrical grid, and they didn't hit the oil export facilities. The idea seemed to be that if they just hit them really hard and kill the top leadership, that the Iranian government will roll over and cut a deal. But this is like a boxing match. When you go into it and you get the other guy on the ropes, you don't let him down. You don't let him up. You don't say, well, let's take a minute break here so you can catch your breath. You go after him till you finish him. And they didn't do that. I don't know why, but I think it was a mistake. And now they're getting to that. Now they're really hitting the Iranians hard in ways they should have done before. And also they're cutting them off economically and financially and politically to some extent. And also they've got the blockade back on. So this regime is getting smacked around more than it ever has been. People are getting pretty unhappy about this. And they're not making any money. And even a nasty regime that's willing to kill 50,000 of its own people a few months ago because they wanted honest government, even those have to worry. But as I said, we've wasted almost 3 months trying to cut a deal with people whose only objective is to string you along until you get into trouble domestically in the United States. So, as I said, some of us were pretty unhappy when this stopped at the very beginning. Having seen it all before, if you watch this for 50 years, you kind of get a few ideas.
Yeah, and I wonder if Israel, who was a partner when we started, this was on using Israeli intelligence and on advice with Israel, in cooperation with Israel, those initial strikes. I wonder if Israel, could whisper in the ear of President Trump and we know how this goes in the Middle East. If you don't go scorched earth, if you cut the head off the snake is going to grow a new head. And that's all we did going in at first, a slap on the wrist, figuring you cut the leadership, but Iran just reinvents itself with the next man up. I think you do more crippling of the infrastructure. You think that's where we are now? And where is Israel now?
Well, I think we've told Israel to lay off. That's my impression. Is the Israelis would like to have done a lot more and a lot sooner, but I think we have told them, don't do anything because we're going to work out a deal with these guys that nobody in the last 50 years has been able to cut a deal with. That's my impression. The Israelis could be very helpful in this as well if we were to sort of call them in again. But the idea that somehow you're going to just hit the Iranians hard and then have them become like nice Canadians. Well, back when Canadians were nice, that just isn't going to happen, unfortunately. But Mr. Trump is the man in the ring. He's the president, and I'm sort of outside commentating. But nonetheless, some of us have seen, and most of us have seen enough to have an idea of what works in the Middle East and what doesn't.
I wonder if President Trump and Netanyahu, the discussions there are, you Israel stand down, because if you get in it, there's no stopping you. That's like the dog on the lead. I mean, when it comes to Iran, they're going 100 or 0. There's no middle ground, I imagine. And also, if their involvement it comes in, it may trigger China to step from the shadows and work in strings and backdoor relationships with Iran. Maybe the fear is China would full out get involved.
Well, China is part of the equation in all of this. And the Chinese are providing a lot of support to the Iranians. In fact, when the Iranian drones and missiles hit U.S. targets and other targets that they aim at, it's because the Chinese have given them the targeting data using the Chinese satellite network. They're providing the guts of the the drones, and even some of the materials you use to make it. And by guts, I mean the navigation, the targeting parts of the sort of the drone that make it go where it's supposed to go. And ballistic missile technology comes from China as well. That hasn't let up. They like to see the United States sort of stuck in Iran, not being able to close this off, because it's a tension that we can't pay to China directly, and we can't pay to the Western Pacific, we can't pay to Taiwan, Japan. It's a huge distraction and diversion of American attention and resources. So the Chinese are glad to have it. And the road to success in Iran, at least one of the big roads, leads through Beijing. Make them pay a price for the support they are giving Iran that's killing Americans. And that's on top of the 800,000 plus they've killed with Chinese fentanyl since 2013. And yes, that's 800,000 plus, and the numbers rising.
Well, another road to success in Iran may be this sanctions thing. When one country puts sanctions on another, I think the feeling is that economic crunch, as you tighten the noose, starts affecting the people. And the people are already disenfranchised with their leadership for the most part. Can we make the people hurt enough in Iran, unfortunately, with the sanctions to finally rise up and help from within?
Well, you can do it to the point that the regime just can't keep control. And going after the military targets, the dual use targets, say the communications network, the electricity, the transportation, all this stuff, it hurts the regime's ability to conduct military operations. But at the same time, it necessarily has an effect on the civilian population. That's anywhere you do it. And sometimes they will blame, say, the people who are attacking, that would be us. Sometimes they'll blame them, and it'll have a unifying effect. But other times, especially if they're already unhappy with a regime, they say, look at what you have done for us. It's 120 degrees out. We don't have any electricity, water, air conditioning. And this has been you've been doing this to us for 40, 50 years. And that is, as a part of the equation, it's hard to know when it'll break. And hopefully somebody has good intelligence about the sort of domestic situation in Iran. The Israelis probably do. I'm not so sure about the CIA's competence in some cases. But we should have a sense of that. But you've really, as I said, you've got to hit them hard. And that is a lesson that we've learned in the last half century. This part of the world, unless you've actually got your opponent down on the mat and he's unconscious, he's going to say, well, that's all you got? I won. And people will actually believe you, especially if you said, look, the Americans threw everything they could at us and we're still here.
Yeah.
And we would say, no, you didn't. You got the daylights beat out of you. But in that part of the world, they say, yeah, it looks like you did kind of beat them.
In the war of economic pressure, it's come down to who blinks first. Sandals on the ground in Iran, those people finally upset with, the quality of life. And in the U.S., every time we go to the Exxon to fuel up, we're getting agitated over this ongoing conflict. What you talked about, hitting Iran harder and just, making them feel some pain in warfare. What is Iran's conventional military? Have we not depleted that pretty good? They'll never run out of drones as long as China keeps building them. But is their conventional military pretty crippled at this point, or what?
It really is. It has no navy anymore. Not that there was a huge navy, but in the regional context, it could cause trouble. It has no air force anymore. Its air defenses are non-existent. You'll see the Americans are carrying out daylight raids over Iran. That means you're not worried very much about what's down there that might shoot at you. They have been hit really hard. There's probably, just by the numbers, they've still got things left. But as a fighting force, they have been diminished greatly. But also a part of this is that they're proxies. They're sort of hitmen. The Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis down in Yemen, down Yemen. They are not what they used to be. They've been hit very hard too by the Israelis, no less. But also when they see Iran get clobbered, that causes them they rein themselves in. Plus, they're not getting the money and the weapons that they were getting freely from Iran, and a lot of that was courtesy of the Biden administration, which forked over so much money that the Iranians were using it to pay Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas in Gaza. That stopped, and that calms things down as well. It reduces Iran's sort of fighting power. But if there's more that we can do, and there's at least a few thousand military targets that were not hit. And it's more than just hitting buildings and military facilities. When it comes to Iran, you got to kill people. And that's the Revolutionary Guards, the intelligence service, the militia. And that means track them down wherever you can find them and kill them. There is no substitute for that. But if it's just buildings, well, you can always rebuild those, and you can eventually buy hardware from the Chinese, for example, the Russians. But you have got to make it so that these people, they worry every second of their lives, of the day, if they're going to still be alive. And you've got to track them down. And that is, there's no nice way to put this. But if it's just, rearranging real estate, yes, that hurts. But that's what construction companies are for, is to rebuild the stuff.
Yeah.
And also take their money and, kill their economy. That is just as much a part of the war as the so-called kinetic fight.
Colonel Grant Newsham, one last thing as our time runs short here. We talked about the secondary players, perhaps Israeli involvement, perhaps China gets in, but all this U.S.-Iran thing, let's go globetrotting, could trigger other stuff that we don't want to see happen in the U.S., and that's Taiwan. China's got their eyes on Taiwan at all times. What might that do? And then I'm wondering, is Japan play any kind of role in this? I mean, Japan is a U.S. ally. They could be helpful in this theater. I don't know. Are these some other countries that we're not thinking about that could be becoming involved?
Well, you've got it right. You have to look at the whole map, when something like Iran happens. And usually one thing that happens in one place has effects in another. China looks at this, and they're very closely watching to see what America does, if it's successful or not. And they're probably counting the number of missiles we have left. Just thinking, is America able to fight a war in the Western Pacific, say, over Taiwan? And does it have the political will to do that, or even the capability? Or is, say, President Trump getting impeached every day? Are the Americans just distracted? Are they fighting with each other domestically? Well, that makes Taiwan look a lot more sort of doable from a Chinese perspective. The Japanese are really scared. They have finally woken up in about the last 2-3 years, and they see the China threat, and they know that they are a lot closer to China than America is, and that the Chinese want them. They want to dominate them, control them. So China has really achieved what no American administration could do, and that's get the Japanese to take their defense seriously. And they are now, but it's going to take them some time to catch up, rebuild their military, and be able to defend themselves. And also, one of the advantages is they then become a better ally to us. We don't have to do everything like we've had to do. So this is maybe the silver lining, is that we're now going to have a pretty good ally and a pretty good military in Japan that we can use really to defend freedom. But you're right about looking at the whole map. And there's a lot of moving pieces, and what happens one place, you're going to either pay for it or get an advantage somewhere else.
I'm feeling like a global tinderbox. Colonel Grant Newsham with us, author of the book When China Attacks, A Warning to America. Thanks so much, Colonel, for being on. We got to get to news. Let's do that now.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming from the Cowboy State Daily News Center. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson. State Senator Eric Barlow released poll results Tuesday showing him with a sizable lead over other Republican candidates in the race for Wyoming governor. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the polling showed him at 42% support.
This is internal campaign polling, so it's not done by a neutral third party. It's commissioned by a candidate, and the candidate can be involved involved in the process. So with that in mind, Degenfelder and BN's campaigns both cast significant doubt on it. BN's campaign associate Cheryl Aguiar saying, yeah, we're doing our own thing. Degenfelder called it an act of desperation to run from his record of opposing Wyoming industries and Wyoming values.
Kurt Blake tells Cowboy State Daily, quote, I think a poll can say whatever you want it to say. With that being said, it wouldn't surprise me if Eric is in the lead. He's a darn good guy. A 14-year-old ranch kid from Big Timber, Montana, had a rope in his hand when cries for help erupted from the Yellowstone River. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he sprinted into the water, through one loop, and caught a struggling man around the arm and neck, pulling him to safety.
14-year-old Jory Thompson was visiting his grandparents along the Yellowstone River in Big Timber, Montana, when he heard cries for help coming from the river. 3 people had fallen in after their boat struck a rock. 2 of the people were able to swim to shore safely. A third man was clinging to a cooler. When Thompson waded into the water, rope in hand, he was able to lasso the man and pull him to shore. A search and rescue sergeant said that without a doubt he would not have made it had Thompson not been able to act quickly.
The Thomas family lives on a ranch about a dozen miles outside Big Timber, directly across a campground where Jory's grandparents had been staying for the week. To his family, the rescue wasn't entirely surprising. Jace Thomas said his son has always been the first person to help somebody in need. I'll be back with more news from the Cowboy State Daily News Center right after this.
This spring and summer, everyone can do their part to keep motorcycles safe on the roads. Motorcyclists, be sure to wear high visibility gear, and drivers, look twice and save a life. This Safe Driver Update is from the Wyoming Department of Transportation.
My name is Tom Kelly, and I'm running for the Republican nomination for Superintendent of Public Instruction. An important duty of the superintendent is to make decisions on the State Land and Investment Board. Wyoming has serious challenges and big choices to make around energy and economic development. As a member of the board, if I know something, you'll know something. With full transparency, Wyoming can take advantage of the economic opportunities without letting mega corporations take advantage of us. I'm Tom Kelly, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Tom Kelly.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. Dr. Eric Cuban, whom Governor Gordon sought to remove from the Wyoming Board of Medicine, has won his appeal halfway. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports
he had lobbied in favor of a bill to ban child sex change treatments across the medical spectrum. I mean, including surgeries, including puberty blockers. And so when Gordon pushed him off the board, the governor was saying, look, the doctors that you are adjudicating have to know that you're not biased. So Cuban sued, alleging the governor had violated his First Amendment rights.
Though Cuban showed a strong enough case for retaliation to revive his official capacity claims, he didn't prove Gordon was violating a clearly established right, the appeals court ruled. A Jackson man is accused of blasting another driver twice with bear spray during a Sunday road rage showdown, leaving the victim struggling to breathe. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he admitted to using bear spray on the other driver, but told police it was self-defense.
Investigators say that 39-year-old Leonard Dominguez on Sunday admitted to spraying another motorist on the road with bear spray not once, but twice. Both drivers said that one person cut the other person off. They ended up pulled over on the side of the road, and when the man approached Dominguez's driver's side window, Dominguez sprayed him with bear spray, and then the man kind of stumbled back to his car, and that's when Dominguez sprayed him again. He made a first appearance in court on Monday, and he was charged with felony assault.
The investigating officer wrote that bear spray is intended to stop bears, not people, and can cause severe eye injuries, swelling, airway constriction, and potentially life-threatening respiratory complications when used at close range. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.
The second hour off with this guy, former state legislator in Wyoming, and really a driving force behind the state's movement to embrace Crypto, he was there with the beef chain legislation, which is basically crypto using protein, sort of. Yeah, it's just fascinating, Tyler, that whole realm. But what are you doing now? Since no longer in the legislature, you went and done some work for Senator Cynthia Lummis, policy director, and now you're with an outfit, Americans for Prosperity, and I hear more and more AFP and recent endorsements and all this. So you like where you are, and what are you doing exactly?
Yeah, it's a pile of fun. I enjoy the heck out of it. Americans for Prosperity we're a nonprofit here in the state of Wyoming, and we engage. We're a policy outfit first and foremost that works in the grassroots. That means we knock doors, but we don't just knock doors during politics. I know everybody's getting a lot of door knockers at their door right now. But folks in Cheyenne, Gillette, Casper, Cody, Riverton, Rock Springs, across the state of Wyoming also know that there's door knockers throughout the year, and those are AFP door knockers. And what we do is we go to the citizens across the state of Wyoming, and we ask the most important question when thinking about your government and how it impacts you and your family's life. What is the most important thing that comes to mind? And a lot of people, about 70 to 80% of the time, say the same thing, and that's economy. So that's where we focus our work during the legislative session.
That there would be the prosperity, Americans for Prosperity. But the overarching core vibe I get from AFP, Americans for Prosperity, is just, things like I see these things on the website. Freedom is something we exercise. And if you don't exercise a muscle, it withers and dies. Ronald Reagan, right? Never more than a generation from extinction. Freedom. We have to keep up our framers, our founding fathers, the principles this nation was founded on. They're as valid today as they ever were, and they're living things. We got to keep breathing life into them.
That's right. That's right. I think if you look at what's going on in the state of Wyoming and across the nation, there's valid concerns out there. There are big issues out there. Everything from flock cameras to the Wyoming Department of Agriculture shutting down lattes being made in Cody to locking up, freezers of beef in Cheyenne. There's issues going on. And those are the issues that we love to play in. We are a center-right organization, and that's the lane that we play in. Thankfully, the state of Wyoming's pretty center-right. So it's we've got lots of friends in the state.
Center-right. Now, I didn't want you to necessarily label yourselves or, I hate when you go to a record store and your favorite band is labeled rock or country or whatever. Let me decide what the label is. But I did ask, the AI, the chat web, all that stuff. What is Americans for Prosperity? And I got two different results. One is, ultra conservative, and one was libertarian. I mean, what is the label? Center right, I guess you said.
Yeah, center right, conservatarian. I think there's a mix in it. We don't play in social issues, so that's a big area that conservatives like to play in quite a bit. Some libertarians, take a different tact in different areas. We just really want government to be so small that you really can't even see it. That's our big goal. But there's nuances along the way, right? And a lot of those nuances are where some folks stumble, right? We don't want our form of big government. We don't want anybody's big government. So in a lot of cases, you'll find us, as an example, several years ago, Representative Mike Yin, who's a Democrat out of Jackson, ran a piece of legislation barring HOAs from having the ability to block or bar any kind of residential child home care. That's a great piece of legislation. Private property rights are sanctimount to who we are in this country, and we supported that legislation. In the words of Frederick Douglass, work with anyone to do good.
Tyler Lindholm is with us. Let's move to the endorsement thing. I think Were you around in the last election cycle? Because I don't remember this many endorsements. This seems to be a lot. Like, you're getting involved in many races.
Yeah, so we were involved, and we were there. I wouldn't say I would say we're definitely more active this time around than we were before. And so we've endorsed in a lot of these races, everyone from incumbents to challengers. We don't look at caucuses. I know that there's probably some angst out there amongst the Freedom Caucus saying, where's the love kind of situation, but we don't get involved in caucus politics. In fact, we're anti-caucus. If you're involved in a caucus, you're not really representing your district. Abandon the caucus.
Right. Good point. Yeah, I mean, these should be electeds representing their people, not necessarily a more overarching platform. All right, so you have tapped a few names here, or endorsed a few names, I see. Senator Ogden Driscoll, who will be in quite a race. That'll be an important one. It symbolizes the Freedom Caucus trying to get a foothold in the Senate, and it inspired Senator Driscoll, I think, who probably was ready to just ride off into the sunset, said, I might stick around.
Yeah, no, that's in my opinion, I think that's the biggest legislative race in the state. And I'll unequivocally say, I think both men are great men. I really do. Chip's a good man. We disagree on policy. That's okay. We can disagree on policy. And that's why our mailers punch on some of those policy decisions. And we cite on every piece of mail that we send out, we cite each piece of legislation so folks can look it up for themselves and make their own decision.
So this is more about backing Senator Driscoll, less about revenge on Chip Nyman. He was the guy who bounced Tyler Lindholm out. Although I wonder if you're not more effective doing what you're doing nowadays, because, when you're in the House, the Senate, you're one voice of many. Very often you'll find yourself minority vote, and it's hard to move the needle there a little bit in Cheyenne and the legislature. Maybe on the outside influencing is the way.
Well, I certainly enjoyed my time in the Wyoming State House. State House of Representatives. I always got to say that. Sometimes people assume when I say the Wyoming House, they assume, well, maybe Tyler went to jail. No, that's not the case. No, I enjoyed my time doing it. I'm having a pile of fun right where I'm at, and I would be stunned if I ever ran for office again. That's the most public way you can get fired.
Definitely. And every time I have you on, I resist the urge to ask you. You gotta, what's in the future? You got to get back in. I mean, you're too good. Certainly in interfacing with the media, you're really good. Media loves a guy like Tyler Lindholm. So what I like about your endorsements is you didn't just say, yeah, this is an A+, we back this candidate. You said why. And, there's a paragraph on every endorsement that explains your thinking and why you like this guy, this gal.
It's an in-depth endorsement process. This isn't, we're not just going out there with memes. I know that there's probably a lot of folks that think I'm just throwing caution to the wind and just running the ball. That's not the case. Our policy survey that each individual, in order to receive our endorsement, each individual has to go through about 7.5 pages of policy to figure out where they're at on different issues. That's followed up by an interview process. And then we go to background checks, all those things, because we don't want to get caught accidentally endorsing a candidate that may or may not have been a felon in the recent years, which, as it turns out, recently just happened with not somebody we're supporting, but somebody that is currently in the Wyoming legislature. And so, we've got to be careful about that. And so going over those policy decisions and being able to do that thorough vetting and that background, we feel like we can put our name behind somebody and really help them get across that finish line so that they can better represent their district.
Americans for Prosperity, Tyler Lindholm is with us. Recent endorsed candidates include Senate District 31, House District 41, 43. Jessica Crowder, just had her on the show the other day. Several races. How did you decide which race to get involved in, and are you done? Are we going to see more?
My political team probably wants me to relax a little bit because we're in a lot of races.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're still going through. We're still vetting. Heck, there's a month left. There's still a lot of time for a lot of activity. You know, our biggest priority when we're looking at a lot of these races is energy. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, Americans for Prosperity is a national brand. But I run our Wyoming chapter, and one thing I love about this organization is they let me own our business here in the state of Wyoming, here in the Cowboy State. And so our number one focus within Americans for Prosperity Wyoming will be, and forever will be, energy. So when we're looking at these types of endorsements, we ask folks like, hey, how do you feel about raising taxes on electrical generation? If they say yes, we're out. We're probably going to be on the other side of the street going against you now.
Right.
If they say anything or they have a voting record against property rights whatsoever, we're coming for your hide. And so that's a big part of it.
Energy, huge, but also ag, man. Ag is your thing, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget that. I mean, it doesn't do numbers like revenue-wise for the state like energy. Energy is core, but man, we love our ag industry as well.
Yeah, I think the ag industry feeds right into the tourism industry very well. And here's my reasoning why. A lot of folks come to the state of Wyoming to see our wide open spaces, to see those cows out standing in the field, to see those mountains bare of any kind of wind turbines or new developments or anything like that. The only barrier to that kind of development in the future should only ever be agriculture. Right. And I don't like zoning. I don't like mandates. Well, you can't build here because we don't want to see this from our backyard. If you want to keep it that way, keep it in agriculture without any mandates. And I think that can be, I think that could be a boon for future generations and something that I'm certainly passionate about. But it takes time. I mean, I was out until last night, digging in a new well on our property.
Oh man, yeah, it goes from one season to another, calving season to digging well. The work's never done. Tyler Lindholm is with us. Americans for Prosperity. Learn more on the interwebs. Americans for Prosperity. This guy has endorsed a few candidates. Get informed, voters, and I'm glad you found time to do this, Tyler, in the midst of your food fight going on, and best of luck with that. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Tyler Lindholm, Cowboy State Daily. Let's take a break. Don Day with the weather next.
This is Robert Short, candidate for Secretary of State. I've built businesses in Wyoming, served as an election judge, and worked diligently the past 11 years as a county commissioner to create collaborations and partnerships with stakeholders around our state and nation to benefit the people of Wyoming. As your next Secretary of State, you can count on me to put these skills to work for the benefit of you, the people of Wyoming. Vote Robert Short, Secretary of State. Visit shortforstate.com for more info, paid for by Short for State.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Dad! Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. And in our family, we're used to getting involved, and I encourage you to do the same, especially when it comes to caring for your loved ones. When I think about Alzheimer's and the impact it had on my family, I recognize that losing a race isn't such a bad day after all. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Yeah, let's get to that weather forecast right now with Don Day, the day weather forecast. It's going to include some moisture. Boy, we sure need it. But flood watch. Flood warnings in some places, many places in Wyoming. Don, I mean, why flood? I mean, I get the afternoon thunder shower. Man, we had some boomers yesterday in Jackson, but not a whole lot of rain associated with it. What is it going to be? Is it because these things stick and stay in a place instead of moving on, or they drop big, huge globs of water? I mean, why might it be flooding?
Yeah. To be clear, the flood watch does not intend to say widespread flooding over a large area.
Yeah.
What we have, I think the better type of watch they should have issued, this is just me, is what's called a flash flood watch, which is the potential for these thunderstorms to deposit a lot of rain in a short period of time. And I could give you a long laundry list over the last week of thunderstorms that have dropped 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in spots, but they're small. And that's the problem. You concentrate a lot of rain in a small area. You know, if we were Nebraska and flat, the water spreads out. But in Wyoming, with our terrain, it gets put into small constricted areas, rivers, creeks, canyons, and that's where you get the flooding that could happen very, very quickly. And we're under a very deep moisture pattern, from the ground way up high. The thunderstorms, when they do develop, it's not a matter of will we have the potential for heavy rain and flash flooding. We're going to have it. It's just a matter of where they're going to be, because these thunderstorms are like their own individual entity.
Yeah.
And so there's gaps. There'll be gaps between these where you may not get a drop of rain. And so, I've been hearing from people, it's like, well, where's the monsoon? I haven't gotten a drop of rain. And I'll tell them, go 10 miles west of you and they got 2 inches. That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
The type of pattern that we're in.
Don, that's what I've noticed on the radar when I'm watching. Instead of a big giant green blob, there's little green blobs, some orange blobs, which are worse thunder. And they're very isolated in nature. We talked to Jackie Dorothy yesterday. She's in downtown Thermopolis. Nothing. East Thermopolis, 4+ inches of rain in an hour. Like,
right.
So micro.
And that's how summer precipitation works in Wyoming, in little pockets here and there. Now, I will say that over the next 48 hours, the moisture is so deep that the opportunity for a lot of folks to get rain looks really good. Not everybody, but very good chances. And there will be heavy rain, possible flash flooding. Exercise judgment, and we'll go over the rules. Only takes 3 inches of moving water to move a car. Most people killed in flash floods, Jake, are killed in their vehicles.
Yeah,
they try to drive through running water, and it gets people every time. I mean, wait, don't. Everybody's in a hurry. If your road's blocked by rushing water, go, well, I've got a 1/2-ton pickup. It's not going to go downstream. Yeah, no, it will.
Yeah, people are just underestimate the power of water, or you start out and it's only an inch or 2, and then pretty soon you're like, oh, it's more than that, and you can't back out the way you came. And yeah, just don't do it. Don, what are we in for? We got tropical storm on the east in one ocean. We got another Pacific Ocean thing, and we're kind of smack in the middle. What do we got today?
So the Pacific is going to be just raging with hurricanes and tropical storms with this strong El Nino this summer into fall. We've got Tropical Storm Bertha in the Gulf. that's just Bertha is just gonna be Bertha. Bertha is gonna spin around. It's really not going to go very far. But I will tell you, the Eastern Pacific will watch in the next couple of months, because sometimes the remnants of some of those hurricanes can work their way into the Western U.S. And that's something in the month of August and early September could be a factor. So we'll keep an eye on that.
All right, Don, thank you. Great forecast. Cowboy State Daily Show here on a Wednesday. Yeah, I'm prepared to perhaps get a little bit wet today. More widespread showers, thunder showers, and maybe flat out good hard rain. Enough to bring flash flooding in some areas. Yeah. Let's head to the Zoom room again. We'll pick up a three-way discussion with your gubernatorial candidate, Eric Barlow, fourth-generation Wyomingite, raised on the family ranch in Campbell County. He's a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, also a veterinarian, although he probably has not fixed a horse in a long time, but he knows how. That's important. Elected into the Wyoming House in 2012, Eric did 5 tours of duty before headed to the Senate and now running for governor. And we got to talk about this poll. Surprising? I don't know. Claire, what do you make of the poll? And I also want to understand the metrics as well, Eric, while you're here. But hi, everybody.
Hey.
Good morning.
I guess, yeah. Is there anything you want to say real quick before I fire questions at you?
No, I'll save my stuff. I just wanted to talk in general.
Not you, Jake.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet.
Jake is very interesting. But...
I'm not running for anything.
Well, good morning, folks. It's a beautiful day in Northeast Wyoming. We made it home last night. You were just talking with Tyler Lindholm, I think, here a moment ago, and at 4:30 this morning, I was out fixing a water tank too. So he was talking about water and a hot day for livestock, and that's what I was doing this morning. So anyway, good morning, Claire. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning. What I found interesting about the poll, besides two of your opponents' skepticism and consternation, was that the 42% that this poll asserts for you is greater than the combination of the other, all three. Well, you have 2 with real name recognition opponents combined. I mean, were you expecting that?
No, and I mean, we've been doing the work, right? So when you do the work, hopefully you see results from that. Just the positive shift is great. And that, the magnitude of that, we want it to be, we believe it's meaningful, and we believe the veracity of the polling and the metrics the questions that are being asked. But there's still, 19 days of voting. We're on there's 20 days of voting in the primary up to get to primary day, and voting started yesterday. So working days, right? There's 19 more days of voting, including today. And so it's game on, and the voters are starting to make their decisions. And hopefully they reflect what the polling is telling us, and we'll have a strong win.
So you have numbers from June, you have numbers from here the past 3 days, Saturday through Monday. Is it your position that you have reportedly gained in favorability because of the recent attack ads against you?
I don't know that it's because, but I think I think if we're gaining because we have a consistent message and showing up, right? We're showing up all across Wyoming, and our message is consistent. What are we looking for in Wyoming? Thriving communities, a robust economy, a place where kids can have a future. We're consistent, and we're listening to them as well. We were in Alta, Wyoming. We've been in Bondurant, Powell yesterday. Today will be Cody, and then Casper, and then tomorrow Cheyenne, then Green River, and Douglas today too. So we're going places and meeting folks, and sometimes it's at a community type event, like yesterday was at Park County Fair and had an ice cream social. 40, 50 people show up, want to have ice cream and visit. And you listen to them and you hear what they're thinking about and talking about. And you hear all kinds of different things. And that's great. And I think people appreciate that.
I have a question. Maybe it's more voyeuristic than political, but you've been in the legislature like 13 years. When you see one of these attack ads against you for the first time, does it still do things to you physiologically, or are you just all hardened off and worn in now?
You know, it doesn't do anything. There's an occasional one where you get that little bit of a glitch, but it really bothers other folks, my family. And that's what I don't like, was when, you know, the people who love you, who are around you, when they take it so personally. So yeah, you might be right. I might be a little, I don't know if calloused is the right word, but a little seasoned. How's that? But it, you know, I don't look at the comments under the articles. I don't look at those things.
Oh, lucky
but others
you.
in my family. Yeah, well, I don't look at them because I need to stay focused on what I believe and what I believe the conversation needs to be, and not get distracted by all the noise. You know, there's a lot of drama out there, and I don't need the drama. I just need to deal with the realities that folks are living with in their real lives, not what's happening on some, you know, online soap opera.
So I see like the backlash on Facebook where people text me, "Did you see that ad about Eric Barlow?" And I confess to you, I don't watch TV. So the ones that I've accessed, people have graciously shot, they videoed and sent to me so that I could cover them. Thank you so much to some of these sources. But so I gave you a chance to respond specifically to two pieces of legislation for which you were attacked, where you actually had yes votes on pretty much contemporary legislation that you thought was worded better that did similar things. Is there another aspect of one of these ads that you want to take on specifically here?
No, I mean, we're anticipating more, right? We can get the numbers and we know how much more money is coming into this space. And there's considerable more money out there lined up to do similar things. So now I'm not going to guess what they are. But we anticipate more and we'll respond to them. And generally, as you'll find in these, they're not factual. They're not truthful. They're not factual. So, yeah.
Well, no, what I mean is, has there been one attacking you on a specific issue that I didn't cover and didn't give you a chance to respond to already, that you wanna take these 90
My
seconds
apologies.
to say, and by the way, that bill.
Yeah, I guess I don't know of any. There's one out there, but I haven't actually got to see it. They told me about it yesterday, and I actually haven't seen it, Claire. So I'm sorry, I can't even respond to it. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. I haven't seen it
We
either.
had, like I said, we were at the Park County Fair yesterday. Jake, have you seen it?
I have not had the pleasure. I've been to 4 county fairs. Park is not one of them. One of these days.
I think have you had the pleasure of seeing the most recent attack ad on him? Which I'd be very curious if you have, because I want to hear the breakdown of it. Gosh, so none of us know what the claims are against you. They're the 2 seasoned interviewers and 1 seasoned politician, and none of us even know what the latest dirt on Eric Barlow on the airwaves is. So that's a fail. So on that note, Jake, do you have a question?
I mean, all I ever hear, from the internet trolls is he's too liberal. Eric Barlow's left. He's too liberal. I mean, it's just nonsense in the campaigning. I wanted to ask Eric Barlow about the potential first lady. You mentioned family and Kelly and Kate and Graham, but in all your materials and all the times I hear you speak, I get this vibe that you are including your spouse, your family in the run for governor. I mean, Kelly is right there with you. I like that.
Yeah, well, I have an amazing partner in life. You know, it's a blessing that we're together, and she's actually not. She was planning to be with me here this morning, but I had to run to town to do some things. So she said, "I'm going to take an extra hour and do some things at the house, and then I'll meet you in town." So, you know, we were ninth grade sweethearts, and she made me wait 10 years after that, and then now we've had 35 years, and you know, you spend a lot of time together. Actually, she told me we were driving back from southwest part of the state about 3 weeks ago. She said, "You know, Eric, we've spent more time the last 9 months than we have together than we have in the last 35 years." I think she was happy about it. No, it's great. It's great. She's got such a servant heart, loves kids, you know, an educator, loves kids, loves our kids, of course, but loves everybody, but loves children particularly.
So you're in a weird space in the state Senate right now, because I think you have some committee meetings left before you clock out, right? And so I don't know if lame duck is the term. Anything you do now, you could go as gung-ho as you want, but you don't know who's fielding that effort in January. I mean, is there any final thing that you want to do in the state Senate, help these committees with germinate before you clock out?
You know, I have 2 committee assignments. I'm pleased to have President Beitman gave me 2 committee assignments. One is the Transportation Committee. And certainly, as you know, how important our road infrastructure is in Wyoming. It also deals with military affairs. So there are several issues before that committee, which I think are very important. And, you know, highway funding being one of those. And then how we, you know, recruit and retain our guard folks. So yeah, I'll continue to do that work. And then the other committee, which has just been probably the most engaging committee I've been on in my legislative tenure, is the Tribal Relations Committee. And just a fascinating you know, engagement with our native citizens and understanding some of the unique challenges they have. I was at a powwow at Ethity, and I was the second powwow that day. I was at one in Sheridan early in the day, and it was actually a competition type of a dance powwow. And then I went to the traditional, you know, community one in Ethity. And so, yeah, those 2 committees, there's still work to do, right? There's still work to do. That's what we do in the Wyoming legislature. And the bills come before us, and we work on those bills, and hopefully we create good bills that go to the legislature as a whole, and they continue that work. And then if I'm successful as the governor, I'll get to see the fruits of that work, and either sign the bill, or if it's not in a good enough shape, not.
That's an interesting point you bring up. I grilled Bo Beitman, Jillian Barlow the last couple of days on how they would behave as a conduit for the tribes, since, you know, if elected to the U.S. House, they would have somewhat a governance role. The Supreme Court has given Congress more authority over the tribes over the past 100 years. But governor, that's a different beast, because there are times, as in Herrera v. Wyoming, where you strike almost an adversarial relationship against the tribes. There's times for balance. There's times for friendship. There's times the state and tribe are competing for gaming revenue. So, I mean, what is your philosophy? What's your policy approach there?
Well, certainly, I always want to have a respectful and meaningful conversation. These are proud people. They're sovereign nations, and they're Wyoming citizens. So I will absolutely be respectful to them, even in times when there are tensions. Right? You mentioned a couple of things. There's whether it's water or wildlife, or challenges with MMIP, missing and murdered Indigenous persons. How do we work together? How do we strengthen all of Wyoming, including our tribal citizens? And and there are some challenges. The resource challenges are real, and it's not an either or. I believe it's an and. How do we actually work together to have some meaningful outcomes? And I believe, it's been in the legislature for a while, but I've only been on this committee for 4 years. And of course, tribal governments change just like state governments, right? We have elections, they have elections. So you just continue to build relationships as new folks come in. And I feel very comfortable we'll have a meaningful working relationship. The governor's office has tribal liaisons, one for each tribe. And certainly that's, I think, a very meaningful way to, have those engagements and understand which each of the tribes and their priorities. And then collectively, I've committed not just to our tribal citizens, but to all of citizens to keep showing up, right? To keep showing up. We have we have a plan to have regional offices similar to what the congressional office members have, and have folks in the Bighorn Basin and folks in the Southwest, et cetera. So this isn't, we want folks to have access to their government and be a part of the things that are happening and have honest conversations about the opportunities that are before us.
I confess I saw the presser about regional offices, but didn't take a very keen interest in it until Rod Miller called it cowboy as hell.
Yeah.
How we doing on time, Jake?
Rod comes up with stuff.
Yeah, I think he should spell it Hail, cowboy as hail, but he doesn't. He misspells it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Claire, let's one last question. Save yours for last. Senator Barlow, you have promised on the campaign trail very often to show up. You've mentioned it a few times in this discussion, to listen and then to get to work. Also, campaign promises are easy, but once, it becomes January and it says Governor Barlow on the door, we need to know you're still there and still listening in office. That governor's door needs to be opened at the Capitol. It has been. There's a tradition of that. You're going to keep listening after the campaign's over.
Absolutely. If the question is, will I keep listening? Absolutely. When you take office as a governor, the newly elected governor, you go right into the legislative session. So all of the people's representatives will be in Cheyenne, saying, "Hey, this is what we're working on. This is what we need. This is what our communities are interested in, etc." But there's no question the door will be open, and I'll be continue traveling the state as governor and engaging folks in their community. That's the way it is. That's what I've done as a legislator for the last 14 years, is I showed up in Douglas and in Wright and in Gillette and in the area just outside of my district to understand what the priorities were. So absolutely we'll continue that and look forward to it.
I realize this is a zinger for the last question, but as I'm thinking about Governor Gordon's second term being largely defined by the Secretary of State's consternation and frustration toward his approval of wind leases on state public lands in his capacity on state land boards, how do you handle wind lease opportunities on state public lands if you get a seat on that board?
How would I handle the lease opportunities?
Yeah, so we've seen the polar opposites of Chuck Gray saying no woke wind, which he did vote for wind leases 3 times, but for the big controversial projects, he's been saying no woke wind, wrong for Wyoming. Whereas Governor Gordon has been like, here's a case for approval, here's a case for approval. What's your approach?
Yeah, I think one, we need to ensure that our state land office is well resourced so that they can inform the board in the most meaningful way. And so that's the first thing that we'll take on if we're lucky enough to be the next governor of Wyoming, is ensure that the board is well informed about the issues and that we have a process where the communities, neighbors and communities understand what's coming their way as well. So it can be wind, it can be gravel pits, it can be, geodesic domes in Teton County. Those things got a lot of interest. We still have obviously an obligation to raise, funding for schools. We also have to understand what the community, what the communities are dealing with, what the larger those things are. Look, good neighbors, good fences make good neighbors. Good people make better neighbors, and good information makes better decisions. So we put those things together on the state land board. And I look forward to having a state land board that can work together, that can have meaningful conversations about challenging issues, but move the ball and explain when we don't move something forward, explain that rationale, not emotionally, but based on, the facts before us. And when we do move forward, justify that in the same way based on, the opportunities before us. So I think, look, I take a fairly methodical approach. Good information, good relationships, we'll get to better decisions. And that's how we'll take on the state land board issues.
Thank you.
Eric Barlow making the rounds. He'll be at the Daddy of 'em All on Thursday, I believe. Friday, stop in Green River, and he's heading to your neck of the woods, Claire, for the Fremont County Fair on Saturday. Catch him on the... Yeah.
Not one governor's candidate came and raced in the autocross. What is this state?
What have we become?
The autocross races were last weekend, and I was like, are any candidates going to come and race against the locals? But nobody did.
I didn't know. I don't know that I got an invitation, Claire.
You're right.
I'm hurt.
Next time there's a governor's race, I'm inviting everyone to the autocross. We're going to decide the race right there, right then.
Get your helmet ready, Senator Barlow. Barlow for Wyo.
Checkered flag.
On the internet, Barlow for Wyo, and you got to spell the Barlow with the line over the L and the O. I don't know how you do that on your keyboard, but do your best. Thank you.
Is it like T-Pain? Who does that rap song? I don't know. Bye.
Bye, Claire. Bye, Eric. Cowboy State Daily Show.
Have a great day.
You too. We're going to get Jared Petrino in here next after this.
This is Robert Short, candidate for Secretary of State. I've built businesses in Wyoming, served as an election judge, and worked diligently the past 11 years as a county commissioner to create collaborations and partnerships with stakeholders around our state and nation to benefit the people of Wyoming. As your next Secretary of State, you can count on me to put these skills to work for the benefit of you, the people of Wyoming. Vote Robert Short, Secretary of State. Visit shortforstate.com for more info, paid for by Short for State.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Who can you turn to for news you can trust? Your local TV and radio broadcasters. You trust us to keep you safe during times of crisis and to deliver the weather, sports, and entertainment you rely on every day. We bring you the facts you need to make decisions that matter. And as misinformation floods social media, you can trust your local stations to deliver the truth. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress you rely on your local stations for trusted news.
You handle the healthcare, we'll handle the marketing. In need of a spark for marketing your medical practice? Loom Studio provides creative and strategic healthcare marketing that illuminates the path to bigger and better experiences for your business and your patients. We specialize in branding and design, social media, website design, SEO and SCM, not to mention content creation, public and media relations, and marketing metrics to ensure you're getting results. If you're looking to increase your patient engagement and retention, enhance your community impact, and streamline your marketing efforts, our team is ready to help you achieve your goals. Contact us today and learn more at loomstudio.com.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
All right, we're back at it with Andrew Rossi, not Jared Petrino. I'm like working an hour ahead. I don't know what I'm thinking. Andrew Rossi's with us, Cowboy State Daily. Got a lot of stories we got to get to from Andrew. My favorite, the girl with the birthday party. Andrew.
A very special morning show with Jake.
I'm telling you, this one, I teared up a little bit. I'm not crying. You're crying. I had something in my eye. The girl with a 7-year-old birthday party, the Cody girl. And, you know, it's summer. It's hard to round up your other 7-year-old friends. It's not, you know, it's not school time. So the mom put the word out on socials, on Facebook, and people rallied immediately to the cause in Cody. Wow. Chloe, happy birthday.
I'm still getting emails about it. I've still got people reaching out saying they want to send something to her or meet her in person. This got a lot of reach, and it's because it's a powerful story, as everybody connected with. She had everybody who had RSVP'd to her party, but then they were going to have it outside, and then a lot of people were worried about the heat, and then apparently someone had a death in the family, so every reason not to come that you can imagine. And they were by Millstone by themselves, and her mom's just like, if there's any way that somebody can drop by, we'd love to have you. And sure enough, like hundreds of people reached out and said, I'll be there, or I want to be there.
Oh, story of the year, Andrew. Chloe Blandon, 7-year-old, her 7th birthday. What happens when you're 7-year-old, nobody shows up at your birthday party? Well, in Cody, they answer and they show up. Man, fantastic. Not so fantastic. 2 other Rossi stories. Andrew's beat is dinosaurs, of course, outer space, and trespassing. Can you just like behave like adults? We got 2 in the Grand Prismatic walking over sensitive. They're ruining stuff, but they're also, I'm thinking, I'm like fearing for their lives. So was an eyewitness who was crying. She's like, you're going to fall through that crust that happened to a buffalo.
Yep. And people forget that, or they're just not aware of it, or they choose not to care. I mean, you have discussions about what can we do to prevent this. And I spoke to Greg Jackson, he was once the head of National Park Service law enforcement in Washington, D.C. And he said it's like he can't think of any reasonable measure that hasn't already been taken to prevent this kind of behavior. But there are just some people that don't think like the majority of people. I think you and I will go to a national park and know that we shouldn't do these things. We shouldn't walk on Grand Prismatic, or the one I published yesterday. We shouldn't climb on the buildings on Mormon Row. We know these things intrinsically, but some people, they just don't think like that, or they don't care, and they'll do whatever. And what can you do to stop them? Any measure that you put in place, they're going to try to circumvent, because that's just how they think.
I don't think the threat of your own personal safety is working, or people are not they don't get the danger they're in when they trespass on sensitive, crusty ground that can break. They don't fear for their lives. And I think for the most part, the reasoning of these people is they don't care too. They think the rules don't apply to me. If other people don't want to get close up to the Grand Prismatic Spring, they're missing out. We're going to do it. And it's just.
And that's what baffles me, Jake. It's like, why would you want to walk all the way up to the edge of Grand Prismatic? I mean, you walk on the boardwalk, you can barely see it. You go up to the Overlook Trail, that gives you your best view because you can actually see the color and whatnot. But if you're just a couple feet away, what is there to see other than a pool of water?
No, you're right. The closer you get, the worse you're taking it all in, and the steam. No, that's not the best viewpoint. This is just something people are like me. When you see stories like this, me is climbing up on one of the famed structures, not the Molten Barn, but one of those on that Mormon Row in Grand Teton National Park, goofing around, climbing up on the roof. It's just bad.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that I was reminded of that I had forgotten is that the Moulton family is still very much, in Wyoming. They have a presence here, and they remember working on those bits of property and those structures. So seeing people, disregard that history and that significance, that's really hurtful, because even though it belongs to the people and they're the most photographed barns in the world, probably, I'll go as far as to say that I don't see any other barns photographed as much as those. That's their family's legacy that they gave to the people of Wyoming. They donated that to the National Park Service, which is really something. And so to see people disregard it like that, it's hurtful, and justifiably so.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine someone like, you find somebody on your roof? That's your home. Somebody's on the, now they don't live there, but that home is significant part of history, and it means something to them. And it's just people, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yep. And the important thing to remember about all of that is that the Grand Prismatic and the barns on Mormon Road, all that stuff, that belongs to us, the American people. That's our property. And I don't like seeing people disrespect our property like that.
Yeah, both of those are federal parks, Yellowstone and Grand Teton. They did a head count of wolverines in Yellowstone, and they found more than they thought. Now, they weren't accidentally counting dogs, were they? Dogs that look like bears pooping? I hope they were all wolverines. That's another story you had to have read, but more than we thought.
They would have caught on to that with the amount of work that they've done if they were defecating dogs rather than wolverines. But no, it's Jim Halfpenny gave an excellent presentation at Silvergate, and he was pretty adamant that yes, there are more wolverines in the park than we're aware of, or at least that the numbers have been put out. He couldn't give you an exact number, like if you're going to Yellowstone right now, how many wolverines are in the park. But based on the growing amount of information that they have and the changes in technology, they can identify individual wolverines and where they're going and what sort of things they're doing. So he was pretty confident that there were a lot more than the national park would tell you that there are.
Yeah, that's probably good news. It's one of the least likely critters you're going to see in Yellowstone, but you never know. More and more wolverines. I think that's good news. You never know when
that was one of my favorite takeaways from that presentation is Jim was asked, how do you find a wolverine? And he said, you find a wolverine where they find you.
Yeah. It has to be on the wolverine's terms. They got to seek you out. Good point. Chance of spotting a swamp moose in the Bighorns. Pretty good over the holiday weekend back on 4th of July. What is this? This kid and his dad are going to be on the show later today, by the way. Bridger Knox.
Yeah, it's just such a funny thing. They did it kind of as a lark last year. They got the ghillie suit because they wanted to prank another one of their family members, so they brought it with them. And they found a moose antler, and Bridger's like, hey, it'd be funny if I walk along the highway with this moose antler over my head in the ghillie suit and become the swamp moose and see what people do. And this past year, they went to a different campsite, wasn't as visible, but they did the same thing again. They got similar reactions. And just what a fun thing to do on a family vacation. Now, that's part of what the Knox family does. They go up to the Bighorns over the 4th of July weekend, and they revive the swamp moose.
Swamp moose has returned in the Bighorns, creating probably a bit of a bear jam when people see that thing on the side of the road and slow down like it's a swamp moose jam. Andrew, have a great Wednesday, man. Thank you.
You too, Jake.
Cowboy State Daily Show on a Wednesday, July 22nd. Coming up next hour, Claire McFarland, Julie Jarvis, and Jared Petrino. Time for news now.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming from the Cowboy State Daily News Center. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson. State Senator Eric Barlow released poll results Tuesday showing him with a sizable lead over other Republican candidates in the race for Wyoming governor. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the polling showed him at 42% support.
This is internal campaign polling, so it's not done by a neutral third party. It's commissioned by a candidate, and the candidate can be involved involved in the process. So with that in mind, Degenfelder and BN's campaigns both cast significant doubt on it. BN's campaign associate Cheryl Aguiar are saying, yeah, we're doing our own thing. Degenfelder called it an act of desperation to run from his record of opposing Wyoming industries and Wyoming values.
Kurt Blake tells Cowboy State Daily, quote, "I think a poll can say whatever you want it to say. With that being said, it wouldn't surprise me if Eric is in the lead. He's a darn good guy." A 14-year-old ranch kid from Big Timber, Montana, had a rope in his hand when cries for help erupted from the Yellowstone River. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he sprinted into the water, through one loop, and caught a struggling man around the arm and neck, pulling him to safety.
14-year-old Jory Thompson was visiting his grandparents along the Yellowstone River in Big Timber, Montana, when he heard cries for help coming from the river. 3 people had fallen in after their boat struck a rock. 2 of the people were able to swim to shore safely. A third man was clinging to a cooler. When Thompson waded into the water, rope in hand, he was able to lasso the man and pull him to shore. A search and rescue sergeant said that without a doubt he would not have made it had Thompson not been able to act quickly.
The Thomas family lives on a ranch about a dozen miles outside Big Timber, directly across a campground where Jory's grandparents had been staying for the week. To his family, the rescue wasn't entirely surprising. Jace Thomas said his son has always been the first person to help somebody in need. I'll be back with more news from the Cowboy State Daily News Center right after this.
This spring and summer, everyone can do their part to keep motorcycles safe on the roads. Motorcyclists, be sure to wear high visibility gear, and drivers, look twice and save a life. This Safe Driver Update is from the Wyoming Department of Transportation.
My name is Tom Kelly, and I'm running for the Republican nomination for Superintendent of Public Instruction. An important duty of the superintendent is to make decisions on the State Land and Investment Board. Wyoming has serious challenges and big choices to make around energy and economic development. As a member of the board, if I know something, you'll know something. With full transparency, Wyoming can take advantage of the economic opportunities without letting mega corporations take advantage of us. I'm Tom Kelly, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Tom Kelly.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. Dr. Eric Cuban, whom Governor Gordon sought to remove from the Wyoming Board of Medicine, has won his appeal halfway. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports
he had lobbied in favor of a bill to ban child sex change treatments across the medical spectrum. I mean, including surgeries, including puberty blockers. And so when Gordon pushed him off the board, the governor was saying, look, the doctors that you are adjudicating have to know that you're not biased. So Cuban sued, alleging the governor had violated his First Amendment rights.
Though Cuban showed a strong enough case for retaliation to revive his official capacity claims, he didn't prove Gordon was violating a clearly established right, the appeals court ruled. A Jackson man is accused of blasting another driver twice with bear spray during a Sunday road rage showdown, leaving the victim struggling to breathe. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he admitted to using bear spray on the other driver, but told police it was self-defense.
Investigators say that 39-year-old Leonard Dominguez on Sunday admitted to spraying another motorist on the road with bear spray not once, but twice. Both drivers said that one person cut the other person off. They ended up pulled over on the side of the road. And when the man approached Dominguez's driver's side window, Dominguez sprayed him with bear spray. And then the man kind of stumbled back to his car. And that's when Dominguez sprayed him again. He made a first appearance in court on Monday, and he was charged with felony assault.
The investigating officer wrote that bear spray is intended to stop bears, not people, and can cause severe eye injuries, swelling, airway constriction, and potentially life-threatening respiratory complications when used at close range. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.
The challenges our planet's animals are facing sometimes feel a bit heavy.
The animals haven't eaten in a day, 2 days, they haven't drank anything, they're cold, they're dehydrated.
As soon as we started our descent, everywhere I could see was mud. Just absolutely mud.
The country has been in prolonged drought for so long, it was like a tinderbox waiting to go up.
Okay, very heavy. Each of us wants to be part of the solution, and we can be. remember that there's good happening right now. At home.
All right, we were able to get into your unit, and we have all 4 of your cats. So,
okay. And around the world. For any animal in any disaster. So let's focus on that, right? Be part of the solution, one rescue at a time. Search ifa.org/disaster ready.
The Jetsons. I think my wife is trying to poison me. I got a horrible stomach ache. Maybe I got some of that cyclospora. Maybe I got some of that explosive diarrhea. I know, sharing. TMI for Claire. I accidentally drank some, with my coffee, Claire, I drank some, when you get, the oils that are...
Ouch. Hold on. I spilled hot tea all over. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened here or what went wrong. Ow, what were you talking about?
Those oils that are intended to like make your room smell better. You put the sticks in the vase and they are in some kind of oil, like patchouli or something.
Yeah. Hold that thought. I'm going to grab a towel.
I spilled some of that into my coffee cup and then drank it. And I don't know whether that's worse than tainted lettuce, but I got to think so from how I'm feeling right now. I think it's way worse.
I hate the scent of patchouli. I hate it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be all one of these folks that says things like triggering, like maybe I'm being too judgy. If you say things like triggering, I'm not judging you. I just don't want to be super reactive since I'm in such a high stress, high critique job.
Right.
That I'm talking, like that I have triggers. I need to mute those because public comment is always, but patchouli is almost like triggering. Like, disgust.
Yeah. I smell patchouli and suddenly I'm thinking, somewhere nearby there must be a slackline champion of the world doing their slackline, or somewhere there's a sack not being hacked while you're hanging out. Like, I don't know.
A sack not being hacky.
It's so Jackson.
Man. 1997 just came rushing back.
Clara, there's some stories of yours we got to talk about when you're ready.
I don't know what degree burns I just give myself.
Ouch.
I need to sort out the tech situation here and not be propping up my iPad on a stick of glue. But that's what we've got going. And, Cowboy State Daily, full disclosure, has furnished me with a very nice laptop. I don't know why I don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can hear Jimmy's voice in the background. Like, that's because...
You got to, because your situation is so wobbly all the time. Like, we never know when it's going to fall down.
I'm sorry. I'll work on it.
You've got such wobble to your appearances. Okay. What are we to make of the GOP leadership endorsing candidates? Have they ever done that? And what are the implications? It's weird.
So I need to dig in and find out when that ban on indirectly or directly backing candidates financially actually became law, because I understand that the GOP actually used to have a lot more power.
Oh.
I was interviewing Jack Spate, who was the chair in the 60s. And he was like, yeah, we had our own newspaper. Because I asked him, I was like, so, because he helped Stan Hathaway to power. He helped Stan Hathaway to the governor's desk. And that is Hathaway's often referenced as our most visionary governor, and just socked away savings and investments and made the most of mineral revenues. And so people talk about Hathaway as this policy visionary. One of the key figures behind him was Jack Spate. So I was asking him here recently, like, why did it matter that you were GOP chair? I'm thinking about the current GOP chair, which not as not the most powerful position a person can hold in this state.
Right.
And
like
he said,
any listeners, name who it is. I mean, that just shows you, right? Not wielding the power of the old days, maybe.
He said that we had our own newspaper. He said it was important because the chair of the GOP was the editor of the newspaper. It was something called, what was it called? Something elephanty, like the wrinkled trunk or something.
Yeah.
Something very elephanty was the
That's
name of
good.
it. I'll find it. But yeah, so he's talking. So we could tout our preferred candidates and cover them our way in the newspaper that we ran. That's fascinating to me.
Okay, so interesting. There's precedent. Don't think this has never been done. I mean, Stan was the GOAT, so maybe a return to those good old glory days. We'll see.
But we did have Bo Beitman on yesterday saying, look, if this goes a step further and we give the party the power to nominate Republican candidates instead of the people to choose them at primary election. So according to Bo Beitman, that's going to become a money status laundering, galvanizing operation where somebody can basically, now the party would probably bristle at that assertion. That's just one theory that's out there. But it would concentrate the power to choose the Republican nominee into the hands of much, much fewer people.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take like Uber vision to see potentially a pay to play kind of thing if you want the R endorsement.
Oh, I want to talk about that. Okay.
Yeah,
so they're endorsing, and Kevin Christensen, who spent a lot of time in the military, time in federal jobs, federal service, he filled out his little questionnaire 100% in agreement with the Republican state platform. And they wrote him back saying, the vetting committee does not recommend you for endorsement. One of the approved criteria that the vetting committee was authorized to consider was past donations to state or county Republican parties. And he raised the concern with me, is this becoming a pay to play? I couldn't give to parties while I was in the military and federal office. I had to be nonpartisan. And I don't have a legislative record. I have a military service. So he was like, what is going on? When I was in the meeting where they were endorsing Brent Bien, Harriet Hageman, Chuck Gray, Tom Kelly, Rachel Rodriguez-Williams, I guess she goes by Rachel Williams now, I'm sorry. When I was in that meeting, Mark Kemp, the chair of Crook County's GOP, was like, this is not a factor, and us not endorsing Kurt Meyer is proof of it. So he wanted a retraction, but a retraction just for the public. If a media outlet is retracting something, that means the whole premise of this story was wrong. So we have to reissue correct information and get rid of that whole story and admit that we were wrong. A correction is much more minor, like this lesser detail was wrong. And a clarification is, I could see how that would be misinterpreted. Let me fix it. So retraction is the highest form of correction and mea culpa we have. We're not going to issue a retraction because people disagree with something our source said. That's not the way retractions work. That's just for the public. But so he said that, but then I received the chart that the vetting committee actually produced. And it confirms my reporting to an extent. Let me open it. And now donations to a party isn't the prevailing factor here. So pay to play is still a source's assertion. It's not Cowboy State Daily coming out and saying this whole system is corrupt. No, it's still a source's assertion, but we did report the data from which he drew that assertion. So this chart has green for go and red for stop, don't endorse factors. And one of the factors on this list says state or county party donations. Harriet Hageman ranked a 3. John Holtz, whom they had briefly considered, ranked a 1. Chuck Gray ranked a 3. Jillian Barlow ranked a 1. Keith Goodenough a 1. The other House candidates a 0, it looks like. Brent Bien, whom they endorsed, ranked a 2 in that area. Megan Dagenfelder, whom they considered, ranked a 2 in that area. Now, this is what Marquette was talking about. Kurt Meyer ranked a 3 in that area, and Scott Smith, whom they ultimately endorsed, ranked a 2. So maybe that's what he's getting at. Like, clearly it's not pay to play because somebody that ranked higher in that area, we didn't endorse. But according to the chart, that is one of the factors.
Read more on that story. That's a Claire McFarland story as well. Let's talk about Representative Daniel Singh. How did he in a not that long ago, I guess, in an old podcast, he mentioned he was not who he necessarily is today. Now, this story for me is newsworthy. Not that you're not allowed to change your opinion or change your presentation of yourself as an elected, but this is an about face for say. This is a 180.
Right. And I don't have it like an opinion or a dog in this fight. I'll just walk you through the timeline. Daniel Singh, according to the Laramie County Clerk's Office, registered to vote as a Republican in 2016. According to his legislative website, graduated from a Bible college with an associate's degree in 2020. In 2021, still registered as a Republican, according to the podcaster, the screenshot I received of metadata, the podcast itself. 2021, he's on a podcast talking about being a progressive, being super pro-choice, wanting to legalize hard drugs. He specifically said he's not a conservative. Progressive is different from a liberal because a progressive can work in any economic system, whereas a liberal thrives in a capitalistic system. So he's saying these things that a lot of the Wyoming right, it's quite foreign to a lot of the Wyoming right in their, their chambers. And so I was like, well, when did he win his first primary bid? 18 months later. That's close enough. You consider it, you're probably campaigning. I couldn't get a good data on when he started campaigning. Coverage of that race was pretty sparse back in the day. But I mean, consider a lot of these folks campaigned for 7 months or 5 months. So that would have put his campaigning roughly 13 months after he said those things. That's a quick about face if it is an about face.
Again, switching topics, let's talk about Dr. Eric Cuban, the ongoing litigation against Governor Mark Gordon, and the latest.
Yeah. So, 2024.
Yeah.
I think all this unfolded. Cuban was on the Board of Medicine, which is a board that disciplines doctors, right? And then he was lobbying for Chloe's Law, which calls for stripping them of their medical licenses for doing gender transition stuff for kids. And so he was also specifically calling out the Wyoming Medical Society as woke and taken over by leftist interests. And he wrote a letter of that nature to lawmakers. And so you do see nothing happens in a vacuum, but you do see he's lobbying for a bill that will become a tool for him if it comes up in his role as an enforcer. And so the governor, I don't remember if the governor signed the bill or let it become law without his signature. I better double check that because that's relevant. And why wasn't that in your story, Claire? Jeez.
Yeah.
Send that girl an email telling her that good journalism is dead and she looks stupid besides.
Retraction. Oh, wait a minute. No, I can't imagine he signed it, given what ensued, but maybe. I don't remember. Are you on your fancy new laptop whenever you go to that other machine?
This is my Windows computer.
So you're using two devices. Neither one is the new fancy laptop.
Look, I travel with the laptop. Tell Jimmy that the company's generosity is not wasted.
All right.
Adopted. I'm just looking. I'm almost done. Votes Concur passed? Come on, what happened?
How do you find that stuff so fast?
Did you become wildleg.gov? Governor signed. So Gordon had signed the law at issue. He had signed it, but he's concerned about one of his doctor enforcers having bias. And so he's, trying to get him off the board. Cuban quit, resigned either that day or the next day. But then things percolate and he files a lawsuit against the governor official and personal capacity saying you violated my First Amendment rights. You retaliated and, infringed my speech and petition rights.
And saying he was forced out, that he didn't really quit.
The word we've used is pushed out. We've felt comfortable in there. Yeah. Judge Skavdal was like, no, I don't remember if Judge Skavdal specifically referenced that Cuban was critiquing a private group, but he was like, this doesn't rise to such a level of public discourse that your rights, because courts weigh, right? They weigh whether the government employee has an interest in stopping disruptions. You can't have a guy, an IRS agent, constantly screaming taxation is theft, because that would probably undermine the credibility of his work. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example. Maybe he'd be allowed to constantly scream taxation is theft. This is a hypothetical where they're trying to make sure that you are still doing the job without completely disrupting the agency's work. So courts balance those. But in this case, Judge Skavdal was like, okay, the governor wins the balance arguments, and I don't see that this is such a public discourse issue that you were infringed, you were violated. The 10th Circuit disagreed in different ways on both of those Tuesday. They said, look, we don't know if the governor wins this balance because this case isn't developed enough yet. We have a couple emails. We don't have enough evidence that the governor wins this balance, that this would have disrupted the Board of Medicine so much. So you need to consider that. And then the other thing the 10th Circuit said was, this is absolutely of public importance. This man was clearly lobbying legislation, even though he was talking about a private group.
Dr. Cuban v. Governor Gordon. Read more about that in the Claire McFarland story. One last thing, Claire, we had on earlier gubernatorial candidate Eric Barlow. His own internal poll shows he's the winner. Just call it now. He's way ahead, 42%. I have questions about the poll. I mean, we do see candidates present their own poll. And of course, in their own poll, who else is going to be in the lead? Are we going to, I don't know. What do you make of the numbers? 42%. Bien, in his poll had third, and Megan Degenfelder kind of running number 2. What do you make of the poll?
I don't know. I mean, we reported it. We reviewed it and felt comfortable enough to report it, though, we hedged it as these are his numbers. Yeah. That his campaign organized this poll. It's hard to say. You drive through a lot of rural Wyoming, you're seeing BN signs. You drive through a lot of cities, you're seeing Degenfelder signs. Barlow, completely sporadic. There's a lot of Barlow signs in Riverton. There's a lot of BN signs out and out.
It's funny you mentioned the signs, because that I do too, and it means something to me. So we all drive in Wyoming, windshield time. And part of campaigning, I think, still relevant is signs. And in my travels, I found Barlow and Bien kind of running neck and neck with how many signs, lesser so Degenfelder. And then just watching social media and the interwebs and seeing stories and what the trolls say, in my mind, it is Barlow, Bien neck and neck with Degenfelder, kind of a distant third in my mind. But I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it shakes out. But Eric Barlow, his internal poll, which I assume, did he hire an outfit to do it, or did his office call people?
No, there's an outfit. Okay. Its name is somewhere in my, I reported it in this story too, but I don't know if 42% is quite, any of these guys they're shooting for 31, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a three-way race. I interviewed Kurt Blake and he laughed and did not expect that he was going to be part of Barlow's press release, which he wasn't. He said he's not surprised that Barlow's in the lead and called him a damn good guy. But yeah, so my closest analysis metric for what we're talking about is the 2018 race between Harriet Hageman, Mark Gordon, and Foster Friess. Harriet Hageman ran for governor, as did Foster Friess, as did Mark Gordon. And Gordon's the most moderate of those three. Foster's no longer with us, but that's Steve Friess's dad. Steve Friess, who's now running for U.S. House. And as we know, Hageman is in the U.S. House running for U.S. Senate now. So these names recur in Wyoming politics, right? Gordon did not get more than both of them combined, like Barlow's poll asserts he will. He got somewhere in the 30s, I believe.
Yeah.
I can double check, but he got somewhere in the 30s, whereas Foster and Hageman arguably split their vote and neither won.
The numbers seem a little bloated, a little skewed, but I mean, we'll all find out. August 18th, early voting now in day 2, started yesterday. Claire, stick around.
I'm sticking around?
Can you for Julie Jarvis? Could you?
Maybe for a little bit. I don't think I can stay for the whole thing.
All right.
What is Julie Jarvis's story?
House District 57.
Right, but is there a specific theme?
Oh, well, she's just Julie. I'm not sure. I got to look. We got to take a break, though. We'll be right back.
I got to bounce for the meeting. I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. I had you as tentative.
I'm sorry.
I will. Claire McFarland, she's got a scoot. Julie Jarvis will be here after this.
Park County Fair's back this July. Happening all week is the thrilling Carnival Midway. Tuesday's the Muddy Mess with pig mud wrestling. Get ready to rumble for boxing on Wednesday. Pull yourself to the grounds for Thursday's truck and tractor pulls. Friday's the fast-paced figure 8 race. And as always, Saturday's the sellout Demolition Derby. Tickets are on sale now, and we'll see you at the 100th Fair on patented land.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way. My kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
There are a lot of words I would use to describe my daughter. Kind, strong, hilarious. When I think about how much she's experienced in her life, on a journey that we're now on together as a family,
I'll make you something to eat, okay?
we can't help but be inspired by her every day.
Hey, Mom, we're about to start the movie. Oh, yeah, I'll be right there. Okay.
So really, we're the lucky ones. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Cowboy State Daily Show, and we're rolling along with Dr. Julie Jarvis, who had the good fortune of being born in Buffalo. Is that right?
That is correct.
I'm going to make that my new town here pretty soon, the wife and I. She's over there right now. I'm stuck here in Jackson for another couple months. Love Buffalo.
I do too.
House and love go Kelly Walsh, go Trojans, by the way. Julie Jarvis joins us, House District 57 incumbent. Gonna be in, I guess we're gonna call it a heated showdown with the same candidate you saw that you defeated 2 years ago, former Representative Jeanette Ward out of Casper. This will be a rematch. That was a pretty close race, and Jeanette Ward, Freedom Caucus member, she, from what I've seen, has been on the attack a little, and I want to talk about your survey for sure. I'm super interested in it. I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm glad you're looking at the numbers. To understand who you represent, you got to hear from them, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about when did the survey go out? How did you get it out? What are the metrics about it? How many do you feel you've captured? Pretty much, you got a feel for the whole district.
So originally, that was my whole premise. And the reason for why I actually ran for office to begin with was because I felt like Wyoming was losing our voice. And the one way to give the voice back to the people is that you have to start finding paths and avenues and ways to elicit as many voices as you possibly can. And the idea of that was I did that through a survey. So in the first election cycle, which is the survey that I sent to you guys, that is included, is the 25-26 survey results. And I sent out the survey at the beginning, and I think I got 128 responses. It wasn't spectacular, but it was because I'm a data nerd. I did have a statistically significant representation, so it did work. But I sent it out after I had won again, right after, and I just said, hey, by the way, everybody, I wasn't joking. Here's the survey again, to all the people who didn't take it, and asked them if they would just please take it again. And through that process and how we did all of the metrics, I had a bunch of people with letters before and after their names help me out, because we wanted to really make sure that we had a survey that was short, easy for people to take, that really got to people's beliefs and tied into the political topics. But we also researched like the different areas where that would come up possibly in the legislature. So there was a whole bunch of work put behind it and sent out. And it was sent out paper pencil to people. It was coded. So I am the only one who can tell actually that when the survey comes back that it is a legitimate person from my district. There tons of work on the backside. The results were pretty incredible. After I sent it out again, I think I ended up with 503 or 508 responses. So did this whole process again, but this time fixed the mistakes and the things that I wished I would have asked better or more clear, like property taxes. I just said, do you think they're too high or not? And I wish I wouldn't have done that in the election, because it was really the debate came up on should we get rid of them or not. And that I didn't have a strong answer for. So I've cleaned up those answers and I'm getting responses back. And I have honestly almost three times the amount of surveys have come back this round.
Oh, that's good.
Pretty exciting.
More data, better data, better understanding. Here's, I want you, Dr. Jarvis, to tell me what stood out to you. I'll tell you what stood out to me right away. And it's like the simplest thing, but you're running with an R next to your name, right?
Correct.
But the survey asked who is registered as what, And your district, you are also representing about 13% Democrats and about up to 10-12% independent. So not everyone is Republican. I've not really heard of legislators who are even concerned with anything that's not their party. Like, if you're going to represent District 5-7, you're representing 13% Democrats.
I am. And I sent the survey out to every single registered voter in my district, regardless of their party affiliation.
Yeah.
So everybody got a voice.
I like that, understanding what all the people in your district want to see and what their feelings are. Now, it does leave a door open for attack, and I know Jeanette Ward has accused some of your voting record of being way too Democrat, but what about the survey did you learn, and how might it influence you in a second term?
The interesting part that came back was that the narrative that's going around in Wyoming, that we believe certain things, like that we don't we vote 100% within a party line, and we're not free thinkers. We are not live and let live. We're like not about local control anymore. That was not the story that was told. So it was refreshing, because the Wyoming that I grew up in is still that Wyoming, and people still feel strongly, because there were a lot of things, like there were some concerns about only non-conservative Republicans taking my survey. But I tell you, when I went through that data, because I actually was the only one that put the information in, because if I'm going to put my name on it, I want to make sure that it is accurate and it is a true reflection of what the people are wanting. People would be super, super conservative, and then they would take a really not so conservative vote and like legalizing marijuana. And then they would be super conservative, but they had these life events. And the beauty of doing paper pencil is so many people wrote comments and notes. So I knew why they felt different ways. Like I have tons and tons. And because I have a doctorate in statistics and research, I coded it all. So I have a pretty good, people will ask on the survey regularly, well, what's balanced mean? Well, balanced means at the end of the day, those last two questions that I asked about government, the fiscal conservativeness, and in the new survey, the government's control. And if the majority of the results come back that they want fiscally conservative, then that's what balanced means. So there's this beauty of the way that it works and how it ties together.
Yeah, I like the survey that invites a fleshing out of numbers. I mean, they're just stats, they're just numbers, but that's great insight when you get to see what people write down as to why they're thinking this way or why they would vote that way. That's really useful, really powerful. I would like to know that Wyoming is returning to, and we used to be, I think this country used to elect the person, not the party, but look where we are today. I mean, it's like the opposite. Is it because voters aren't taking time to get informed and they're just going to go in the booth and say R, or is it the rhetoric that we see nationally where it's just attack, attack, attack? If you're not with us, you're against us.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of different things going on, and I think Wyoming was the perfect scenario to be an unfortunate pilot program for an outside organization that I am not part of and I do not endorse in any way, shape, or form, and is the primary reason for why I ran, because I just saw us really losing our voice, because we are trusting people. We do. We really trust that, if we elect you, you're going to go down and do the job that's best for us. And it has been that way all up until the last 2 years. And the rhetoric and the narrative that's going around is really unfortunate, because this organization is really, really determined to create a divide between our Republican Party. They're trying to make the people who are not willing to vote lockstep with them and with their organization and do as they're told. They're trying to paint pictures about the rest of us that are just not true. So,
Dr. Jarvis, House District 5-7, talk about your freshman term, first term in. A lot of legislators say it's like being thrown into the deep end, sink or swim. How'd it go? How do you feel now after one term under your belt?
Learned an incredible amount. It was an incredible experience. It was like drinking from a fire hose. All of the things that I thought the way things worked were not the way things worked. Trying to figure out how to navigate, how do you even run a bill? How do you do these things? How do you object? How do you run amendments? And I don't profess to be the best public speaker. That is not my strength, but I do research everything down to a T. And I go in, what does it really do? And my main goal is, what are the unintended consequences of our actions? So looking at those bills holistically, the unfortunate part was there were times that we were down there and we would be prepared and read through them. And I'd had discussions with other people on what was your take on this right there at the beginning. And then we would, in that first week, our whole list would change 30 seconds before we had to go live on the floor.
Huh.
So the list of bills we were not even allowed to prepare for. So it was those games of trying to navigate that and then trying to figure out how you get the information from the right people. And I thought I knew a lot about Wyoming and found out I knew about 2 inches deep and had to really reach out and create some friends that would give me pragmatic, real life expert, information. But the beauty about Wyoming is that we do have that.
Well, you learned on the job and you done pretty well, according to the Americans for Prosperity. I don't know if you saw earlier, we had Tyler Lindholm on. AFP endorses you for House District 57. And they write, after serving just one term in the House, Representative Jarvis has already become an AFP policy champion, consistent support for education freedom, free speech, deregulation, healthcare reform. That's what they liked about you. Would you agree with that?
The beauty is that a lot of the survey results really did align with what my own personal beliefs, which made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But overall, yes, I championed what the district asked me to do, and a lot of AFP's endorsement also came from grassroots. The idea that there's a libertarian twist to that really gives the voice back to the local people. The beauty of it was, in a lot of those areas, my beliefs aligned pretty closely to what the people of my district were saying. Where it got tricky is when they say something different. So I hope I get to continue with AFP, because if these survey results, when I finish going through them all, are different, then I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, but again, you're not making decisions to please them or please anyone but the people you represent. I like that out of a representative. I don't want to heap too much on you, Dr. Jarvis, but I think this race is more highlighted, heavier, because it comes down to, is Wyoming ready to elect a person over the party and over the caucus? The Freedom Caucus debate versus Representative Jarvis. I think it's a big race. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on it. Where do we find you on the internet?
So you can go on my website, jarviswyo.com, and find survey results, my entire voting record. I publish it all. The whole point is be transparent. And those votes that have come up in controversy, I give a rationale right there on the document. My entire 287 votes are right there.
Yeah.
And so I just ask people, really just go find the real information. Don't believe it. Don't believe the stories that are being told out there, those narratives, because truthfully, there is an outside organization of millionaires that want Wyoming to not have local control and not have our voices anymore. And if we do reelect them, things can change. You can say, oh, we can just reelect somebody else next time. Not when they change the laws on us that fast and they have that kind of control for 2 years. So I caution people, my race does come down to Wyoming, like, do you want your voice? Do you want to preserve it? Do you want to preserve our way of life, or are we going to give it away?
Representative Jarvis, House District 5-7. She's the incumbent in a race. Day 2, early voting underway now. You can go vote right now, but get informed. Do the research, folks. Thank you, Julie, for being on.
Thank you. And we're a republic if we can keep it.
Cowboy State Daily Show continues. Jared Petrino next.
Who can you turn to for news you can trust? Your local TV and radio broadcasters. You trust us to keep you safe during times of crisis and to deliver the weather, sports, and entertainment you rely on every day. We bring you the facts you need to make decisions that matter. And as misinformation floods social media, you can trust your local stations to deliver the truth. Text TV to 52886 and tell Congress you rely on your local stations for trusted news.
You handle the healthcare, we'll handle the marketing. In need of a spark for marketing your medical practice? Loom Studio provides creative and strategic healthcare marketing that illuminates the path to bigger and better experiences for your business and your patients. We specialize in branding and design, social media, website design, SEO and SEM, not to mention content creation, public and media relations, and marketing metrics to ensure you're getting results. If you're looking to increase your patient engagement and retention, enhance your community impact, and streamline your marketing efforts, our team is ready to help you achieve your goals. Contact us today and learn more at loomstudio.com.
I'm Chris Jakomick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakomick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. My service never stops.
We're back at it. Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake. Jared running just a tick behind, which is fine because so am I, really. Been a little bit behind all morning. Hopefully nobody's noticed. We're going to talk University of Wyoming sports, Cowboys, Cowgirls, although, you know, we're in a period of the calendar where the kids aren't in session, the students aren't in session, and sports are not really rolling, not in a regular season fashion. I mean, tennis, golf, that's wrapped up, and we're awaiting football, volleyball season eventually here pretty soon. Football, you know, they've been doing the spring workouts, and we're getting just barely a look what this football team might look like and what the conference might look like. Just, you know, whole new conference. Going to take some getting used to for sure. You know, while we wait, let's do, I think we should rodeo, but I'm probably not ready to rodeo. Western Ag, I keep hoping that Western Ag Network and Will Rasmussen has made their way to Cheyenne Frontier Days. But so far, not a report yet from the daddy of them all. It's been some reruns. So maybe they are there. Maybe Will is there, but he has not made a report there yet from Cheyenne. He's got, at some point, the Rodeo Roadshow has got to show up in Cheyenne, I would think, at the daddy of them all, right? Yeah, let me, I gotta do some clicking, some internet work, and we will get the Rodeo Roadshow on here in 2 shakes of something. Okay. I'm almost ready. Rodeo Roadshow. I hope people are enjoying. I saw, what did I see? I saved this somewhere. A great bronc ride from a local. I love when Wyoming Cowboys do well at Cheyenne Frontier Days. Brody Wells scored the first 90 so far in CFD. 90 ride just the other day in bronc riding. Way to go, Brody Wells. He's Wyoming's own and a fantastic ride. I think he was aboard. Oh, I can't remember the Bronc's name, but yeah, way to go, Brody. I love when we keep it local, when Wyoming Cowboys and Cowgirls exceed. And by the way, yesterday I told you about the barrel racing, and that part of that card got canceled after one of the contestants fell. The ground was considered not safe, and the whole rest of the barrel racing was scratched. Cheyenne Frontier Days fixed the arena floor. Things were much better the other day. And that contestant, whose name I'm not remembering, but I'll go look up, the one who fell, she was fine. The horse was fine. In fact, she came back. She was granted a re-ride, and she came back to win that round in barrel racing. So they have fixed the whole barrel racing thing. Let's go to Will Rasmussen and the Rodeo Roadshow.
It's the Rodeo Roadshow on the Western Ag Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Rasmussen. It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks, and the latest big rodeo that I just flew in from is the California Rodeo Salinas, the 116th edition of Top 20 Rodeo in the world. They call it a rodeo. We will talk about the winners when we come back.
In the heart of cowboy country, legends rise. Saturday, August 1st, Sentinel Butte hosts the 70th annual Champions Ride Saddle Bronc match, a PRCA-sanctioned battle of grit, power, and tradition. The dust flies, the crowd roars, the toughest broncs and the boldest riders go head-to-head. Grab your seat in the open-air arena, bid on your rider at the Live Calcutta, and support a powerful cause at home on the range. It all begins at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, August 1st. Tickets and info at hotrnd.com.
Ranchers, when pounds still equal dollars, don't let shrinkage on shipping days sacrifice your profitability. Hi, this is Shane from Western Ranch Supply. Depending on the distance, weather, stress, and other factors, shrink can be anywhere from 7 to 8% when transported to an off-site scale. Let Western Ranch Supply help with a rice lake scale that's easy to use, durable, NTEP approved, and legal for trade. Check out a Rice Lake scale at one of our stores in Billings or Great Falls.
Been a whirlwind couple of weeks from Greeley, Colorado to Big Fork, Montana, Sheridan, Wyoming, then take a flight out to Salinas, but so very blessed to be able to have a job I love. As a matter of fact, I have this job, which I love, and announcing rodeos, which I love as well, and able to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of rodeo and bring you some rodeo stars. Leighton Berry of Texas, a recent guest on the Rodeo Roadshow, won the bareback riding event at the California Rodeo Salinas. Chowchilla, California's Stan Branco was the steer wrestling winner. And in the team roping event, the brothers Graham from Alberta, Canada, Dawson and Dylan Graham, won that huge contest. Darcy Rattle from Australia, the saddle bronc riding winner by a half a point. It's Shad Mayfield, Money Mayfield, New Mexico, the world champion tie-down roper, wins the tie-down roping. Josie Connor from Louisiana, she was the breakaway roping champion. Trisha Aldridge from Texas, riding the highest money-earning stallion ever. Adios Pantalones, remember that one? She wins it. TJ Gray wins the bull riding. I'm Will Rasmussen on the Western Ag Network.
Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. Now, back to the show.
It's so frustrating navigating the Cheyenne Frontier Days results website. I can't. I give up. I can't do it. Let's get Jared Petrino in here. I know Brody Wells scored the first 90 on a bronc yet so far in Cheyenne. That's all I know. And Brody is one of Wyoming's own. Jared, how's everything going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. Except being poisoned by my wife, but you had to be here earlier for that.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Yeah, I got the explosive diarrhea, and it's not from the lettuce. And it's not from... And by the way, how do you tell whether you have the cyclospora explosive diarrhea after eating lettuce in a taco at Taco Bell, or how you have just regular Taco Bell diarrhea?
I think I would just always play the second role no matter what. Yeah, I think it's a well given knowing that you better have a stomach for Taco Bell, and if you don't, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, well, it's just one more reminder to avoid any green food. I don't pull the lettuce off your hamburger; it just gets in the way.
That's right. That's right. I'm with you on that.
What's happening on campus, Jared? It's going to be, when is the first football action that we'll get to see?
That's a good question. I haven't seen the fall camp schedule yet, but I know they report middle and so not next week, but the week after. So yeah, they'll get rolling. And then as far as any type of scrimmage or anything, I'm not sure exactly what the dates are for those, but we'll start. It'll get ramped up pretty good, and then we'll have media day on campus for the players. So they'll have some access for them too. So
any first year player that is just been given a locker and assigned a number, do they also have the playbook right now? Are they at home studying that playbook?
Oh yeah. Well, you got to remember now things have changed. Every kid that's on that roster has been there since June 1st. So all the freshmen are there, everybody that's new. If you're a transfer, you're there unless you just got picked up recently. But yeah, everyone's been doing installs all summer. They've had meetings, they've had workouts. So they've been going at it all summer. So it's nothing, won't be anything new. So they're definitely into the playbooks already. So
okay, I got a dumb question. Can you pick a number to any degree, the number you want as a player, or you're just assigned, that's what you get, kid?
Sometimes those conversations are had in the recruiting process. If it's that important to a kid, he'll bring it up. Sometimes that's a little bit of a red flag, to be honest with you, because if they're more important about what number they're wearing, then it's not sometimes not that nothing against wearing the number, but sometimes if it's available, then obviously you can make it work. Now with college football, you can have double numbers, so it allows you to, there's more freedom on those numbers because all the kids want single digit numbers. So when you can do double numbers, as long as there's an offensive 3 and a defensive 3, then it makes it a little confusing on special teams because you have to make sure they're not on the field at the same time. But yeah, I mean, they've been assigned a number since the equipment staff has assigned them a number. There's sometimes they'll do competitions if two kids want to compete in a bench press competition for a number, you'll see that happen every once in a while. But so it just kind of depends. So.
Well, as a play-by-play guy, I'm opposed to having numbers on offense and defense the same number.
Yeah, as a special teams coordinator, it was very frustrating because I had to have a color-coordinated depth chart knowing that what guys couldn't be on the field at the same time. So
yeah, it's a reason.
It's a penalty.
Right. It's probably a reason why, for special teams, all of a sudden you see a guy run off the field because you got too many, or run on because you don't have enough. Which 55 are we waiting on? Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like
it's
that.
It's definitely makes it tough.
Okay, Jared, that's all we got. We were talking rodeo before, but next week I'll have more for you. I'm running behind.
All good. All good. We'll see you next week.
All right.
See you, Jake.
Jared Petrino on the show, Cowboy State Daily. And yeah, we are out of time for this hour. 1 hour left in the show on a Wednesday edition, and it's one you do not want to miss. Katie Bonjean will be up first thing next hour from the Village Cooperative, a whole new way of living for those of you 62 and older. Jim Magagna We'll talk all things cows and beef. And Bridger and Steve Knox. Bridger is the guy who dressed up as a mossy moose. It's weird. I know.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming from the Cowboy State Daily News Center. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson. State Senator Eric Barlow released poll results Tuesday showing him with a sizable lead over other Republican candidates in the race for Wyoming governor. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the polling showed him at 42% support.
This is internal campaign polling, so it's not done by a neutral third party. It's commissioned by a candidate, and the candidate can be involved in the process. So with that in mind, Degenfelder and BN's campaigns both cast significant doubt on it. BN's campaign associate Cheryl Aguiar saying, yeah, we're doing our own thing. Degenfelder called it an act of desperation to run from his record of opposing Wyoming industries and Wyoming values.
Kurt Blake tells Cowboy State Daily, quote, I think a poll can say whatever you want it to say. With that being said, it wouldn't surprise me if Eric is in the lead. He's a darn good guy. A 14-year-old ranch kid from Big Timber, Montana, had a rope in his hand when cries for help erupted from the Yellowstone River. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he sprinted into the water, through one loop, and caught a struggling man around the arm and neck, pulling him to safety.
14-year-old Jory Thompson was visiting his grandparents along the Yellowstone River in Big Timber, Montana, when he heard cries for help coming from the river. 3 people had fallen in after their boat struck a rock. 2 of the people were able to swim to shore safely. A third man was clinging to a cooler. When Thompson waded into the water, rope in hand, he was able to lasso the man and pull him to shore. A search and rescue sergeant said that without a doubt he would not have made it had Thompson not been able to act quickly.
The Thomas family lives on a ranch about a dozen miles outside Big Timber, directly across a campground where Jory's grandparents had been staying for the week. To his family, the rescue wasn't entirely surprising. Jace Thomas said his son has always been the first person to help somebody in need. I'll be back with more news from the Cowboy State Daily News Center right after this.
This spring and summer, everyone can do their part to keep motorcycles safe on the roads. Motorcyclists, be sure to wear high visibility gear, and drivers, look twice and save a life. This Safe Driver Update is from the Wyoming Department of Transportation.
My name is Tom Kelly, and I'm running for the Republican nomination for Superintendent of Public Instruction. An important duty of the superintendent is to make decisions on the State Land and Investment Board. Wyoming has serious challenges and big choices to make around energy and economic development. As a member of the board, if I know something, you'll know something. With full transparency, Wyoming can take advantage of the economic opportunities without letting mega corporations take advantage of us. I'm Tom Kelly, and I approve this message.
Paid for by the committee to elect Tom Kelly.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. Dr. Eric Cuban, whom Governor Gordon sought to remove from the Wyoming Board of Medicine, has won his appeal halfway. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports
he had lobbied in favor of a bill to ban child sex change treatments across the medical spectrum. I mean, including surgeries, including puberty blockers. And so when Gordon pushed him off the board, the governor was saying, look, the doctors that you are adjudicating have to know that you're not biased. So Cuban sued, alleging the governor had violated his First Amendment rights.
Though Cuban showed a strong enough case for retaliation to revive his official capacity claims, he didn't prove Gordon was violating a clearly established right, the appeals court ruled. A Jackson man is accused of blasting another driver twice with bear spray during a Sunday road rage showdown, leaving the victim struggling to breathe. Cowboy State Daily's Colby Fedor reports that he admitted to using bear spray on the other driver, but told police it was self-defense.
Investigators say that 39-year-old Leonard Dominguez on Sunday admitted to spraying another motorist on the road with bear spray not once, but twice. Both drivers said that one person cut the other person off. They ended up pulled over on the side of the road, and when the man approached Dominguez's driver's side window, Dominguez sprayed him with bear spray, and then the man kind of stumbled back to his car, and that's when Dominguez sprayed him again. He made a first appearance in court on Monday, and he was charged with felony assault.
The investigating officer wrote that bear spray is intended to stop bears, not people, and can cause severe eye injuries, swelling, airway constriction, and potentially life-threatening respiratory complications when used at close range. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. I'm Reese Cowan, in for Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Cowboy State Daily Show in the final hour of this Wednesday edition. Katie Bonjean joins us. She's with the Village Cooperative of Cheyenne. It's a unique homeowners option, collective ownership for those 62 and older looking to perhaps right-size their living space. I love this idea. The Minnesotans thought of it. Genius, but its application to Wyoming is coming. In Cheyenne, we should have livable space for you in 2028 by the summer, but the spaces are going fast. Katie, give us an update. Last we heard, I think you had 50-some units, and maybe almost half of them already spoken for. How's it going?
It's going great out here in Cheyenne. It's been such a warm reception to this concept and new idea that doesn't exist here yet. People really are reacting to wanting to offload that maintenance. They don't want to take care of the lawn and random snowfalls. They want an easier way to live. And yet over half of our homes out of the 54 that will be in the Village Cooperative of Cheyenne are already spoken for.
And there could be probably many more. What is the need that you feel? You've probably done some informal surveying and just to figure out if there's an appetite for 50-some units, but you could triple that. I mean, the need for senior housing is definitely a crunch in Cheyenne area.
Oh gosh, it is real in Cheyenne here, Jake. You are 100% correct. There's a need for senior housing. People don't have a ton of options. There are some assisted living options, but if you want an active, independent ownership opportunity and offload the maintenance here in Cheyenne, there just really isn't anything out there that's like this. People really enjoy the idea of being able to right-size that space. Like you said, they're collectively owning the building with other people who share their hobbies and interests. And at the same time, they can pursue their interests by freeing up some of the financial assets they have in their home, reinvesting a portion into the cooperative, using the rest to travel, go see grandkids, pursue their hobbies and interests. So it's active, a community of like-minded peers that want to pursue everything in their senior years.
Yeah, senior years, but this is not, assisted living. Not that you couldn't have someone there to assist your living, but when you're talking about 63 years old, right up to, 70s, I mean, 63 is the new 40, or, I mean, they're so active seniors, 62 and up. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves, Katie. Let's explain for our listeners who weren't when you were last joined us or aren't familiar with this model. We're going to tell you where to go to learn more. But this model of ownership, it relieves a homeowner of the burden of an unexpected cost if the refrigerator blows up. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to even stuff in your home, appliances, like all of it's taken care of, right?
Yes, exactly. So because you're purchasing a share into the cooperative corporation, the owners collectively own the land, the building, and everything in it minus people's personal property. So the cooperative is responsible for repairs and replacements as things break or need, the mechanical lifespan is up and they need to be replaced. So that really gives our members relief that there's not going to be some wild assessment. They've planned for this. This is a simple, secure way of owning a home. And all you have to do is make one call. You call the community manager, they repair or replace it. The expense comes from the cooperative. So it's just very easy to own here in the cooperative.
No surprises, no unexpected major expenses. By the way, if you're renting, here's the advantage over renting. I mean, your rent could go up at any time. You're not going to see that. My favorite part about this whole concept, Katie, is the community it builds. Renters, for instance, you go home to your rental and you go to bed. You don't really interact with the neighbors. I mean, to a great degree. This place really fosters community because it's all your peers. It's people very similar walk of life to you, and you've created spaces where you bring community together and gather.
That's right. Our members really consider the front door to that building the front door to their home. They don't consider the door to their unit as the door to their home. Like you said, Jake, in rentals, people often come home and similar to a garage door at a home, they shut that door and they do all of their living behind that space. People here in the co-op are out in the community spaces. They're having potlucks. They're bringing in their friends and family to host for special events. There's a guest suite. There's a fitness studio. So there's a lot of places to form community, which is exactly what these people are intentionally wanting to do.
Now, this whole, I mean, not that we have to go in the history and the background of this idea of cooperative living, but it does trace its roots back to Minnesota, 1970s. Minnesota, I think what we all know of Minnesota is it's cold, right up there with Wyoming. So maybe that's an advantage. It gets cold in Cheyenne. That may work for some folks.
I think the idea really did come from a group of people who said, we want to stay active in these winter months. We don't want to have to go out in the snow and in the ice storms to go and work out, to go and see friends. So let's create a community that our hobbies and interests can happen inside. And then we can go explore and see our children and grandchildren, of course. You don't have to do all of your hobbies and interests in the co-op. People have, other interests that they pursue in volunteering outside of the co-op, but really it allows a lot of that community to happen inside their home.
Village Cooperative of Cheyenne can't get here soon enough. Hopefully, you're all. Do we see? Are you moving dirt out there? Is it started? And do you? How about the target? Summer 28? You think?
I think that is when move-in will be. We do plan to dig this year. We just have to sell 60% of the homes, so we are almost there.
Oh, we're close.
Before we begin construction. So members are so excited. They're soon to be choosing all of their finishes for their homes, so their flooring and cabinets and countertops. So that's unique at this time. And they're really excited to get this started. They're already forming community. They're meeting each other every month. They're getting together and already forming that community.
Yeah. Katie Bonjean is with us, and you're going to contact her directly, by the way, if you have interest in scooping up one of the half of the 54 homes remaining. You got to get on it now. And so, Katie, what did I wanted to ask you? So what is it if I'm buying into this? I assume it's a one-time purchase, as if I'm buying a home. Like I own this. The cooperative ownership I'm trying to understand.
Sure. Yeah, there's a buy and share payment. So that's the one-time share payment. And then there are monthly expenses that cover the zero-based budget of the cooperative. So everyone contributes to those, whether it's the real estate taxes, your portion of that, the master insurance policy, water, sewer, trash, recycling. So it's much bigger than and more encompassing than a traditional HOA. And that takes a while for people to wrap their minds around. It's a lot of payments all in one that you would be paying in a single family home.
Yeah, I don't have the kitchen table full of a bill from the electricity, for the sewer. Like, it's all taken care of. I'm not mowing the lawn. I'm not shoveling snow.
So simple, right? You're offloading all of that. You really just have freedom. You have your time back. And oftentimes a lot of your financial assets back too in your possession. So that equity is not sitting in your home anymore. You've freed it up. You have access to it anytime, but that freedom to go and pursue hobbies and interests and travel is huge. So our next seminar is next week on the 28th at 1:00 at the Rib and Chop House. So we really just want to give people a good understanding of what is a co-op. And then they can decide, does this sound right for me?
Wait, Katie, I don't want to say you're wrong, but I have July 29th, not 28th. Who's right?
It is on Tuesday the 28th.
Tuesday the 28th at the Rib and Chop House, 400 West Lincoln Way. Info seminar, learn more, or get on the internet. I mean, I'm on the internet now trying to learn as much as I can. Your target audience, your people that you're pitching to, are those right sizing a home, I think, is key. We all get to that point of the life where the 4-bed, 3-bath is just too big. We don't need all that. The kids are gone. We got to get scaled down, but we don't want to rent. With condo means you got to take care of all kinds of problems, but you're not ready for the, assisted living thing. This is it just hits the sweet spot of where you are in life and in your 60s, I think.
Exactly. People live better, longer in these communities because they push each other to stay active. They have new interests that they can pursue because they're exposed to them by someone else who may say, have you ever thought of doing this? It just keeps you really sharp. You live a lot better. Yeah.
And imagine moving to a neighborhood and you just have to hope that your neighbors are not some, 20-something yahoos that run the motorcycle all night. You hope they're like you. Well, this is a guarantee. They're all like you. You're the same age. You're at the same point of life. And that is just a community builder. Katie Bonjean, we're going to go on the internet. We're going to find out more, villagecooperative.com. Or you want to share your phone number? I want to get a hold of you right now before I lose one of these spots.
Absolutely. Our number is 307-316-3425.
All right. Katie Bonjean joins us in a unique, this is the first time Wyoming has seen it, and I got a feeling not the last once we see the success of this. Village Cooperative of Cheyenne breaking ground shortly and should be up and running summer of 28. Half the space is gone. Get to it. 54 homes, and I think they got 20-something already spoken for. Most of those are 2-bed, 2-bath, some 1-bed, 1. How do they look?
Yep, they range anywhere from a 1-bedroom and 1-bath all the way up to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath plus den. So something for everyone. We have 20 different floor plans to choose from. So something for everyone for sure.
Thanks for being on, Katie, giving us the latest update. Get on again when you're 100% sold so we can shout that out.
We will.
All right.
We will. We appreciate you chatting with us today. Thanks so much.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
This is Robert Short, candidate for Secretary of State. I've built businesses in Wyoming, served as an election judge, and worked diligently the past 11 years as a county commissioner to create collaborations and partnerships with stakeholders around our state and nation to benefit the people of Wyoming. As your next Secretary of State, you can count on me to put these skills to work for the benefit of you, the people of Wyoming. Vote Robert Short, Secretary of State. Visit shortforstate.com for more info, paid for by Short for State.
This is the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. The moment I chose hope was when I couldn't look myself in the mirror anymore. I did not recognize myself. Absolutely. So I'm so proud because I did not think I was gonna make it. And now, you know, I get to call my mom and say I love her. I get to teach my son how to say, Mama, I love you. Yeah. So for me, hope in this moment, it is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
Judy.
Nestled between Casper Mountain and the North Platte River, you'll find the heart of Wyoming. With a bustling downtown centered around our outdoor haven, Casper is for adventurers, freedom seekers, and rule breakers who find beauty off the beaten path. So if touchable history, a vibrant community, and uninterrupted outdoor recreation define your travel itinerary, allow us to welcome you to the one and only Casper, Wyoming. Plan your trip at visitcasper.com.
All right, look at you taking the stairs. Who are you?
We're your lungs. We are proud of you for quitting smoking, but you still may be at risk for lung cancer.
A routine cancer scan can detect it early when it's more curable. Good to know. Well, I gotta go somewhere.
So do we.
Listen to your lungs. Get a routine screening that could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Good morning to you, sleepyhead. If you're just waking up, where you been? We're in our final hour of the morning show, Cowboy State Daily Show. Hey, I want to share this ride with you. I was talking about it earlier. It's the Brody Wells ride. And then we're going to get with Jim Magagna in just a second. Also, breaking news yesterday, Albany County, there's a lightning-caused fire strike. Fire in the Fish Creek Ranch area. All residents of Fish Creek Ranch and Cherokee Park area were evacuated yesterday in Albany County. Immediate. You are set on go now. Albany County Sheriff's Office, Fish Creek Fire, the Fish Creek Ranch, Cherokee Park area. And a startup yesterday, a blaze there that looks kind of bad. Here's Brody Wells in a 90-point ride at Cheyenne Frontier Days on this Bronc. This is the first 90 ride of the daddy of them all. And it kind of went like this.
Brody Wells is 13th in the world, and another horse from Sankey's named Speak Easy.
When I was healing up my
Brody Wells on Speak Easy. Brody is Powell native, and he's in his home state right here at Cheyenne Frontier Days, Daddy of All. I mean, what a moment for this kid on this bronc. And somehow my interweb stopped right there. Oh, come on, Brody. We need to see this 90 ride. What happened to you? I don't know what happened to my internet. It just stopped right there. Oh, come on. We have got to see Brody Wells top this horse for 90 points. Here we go. Here it is.
Wyoming Cowboy.
He bailed out of there and bucked, and I held my feet, and I could feel him. He tucked up underneath me, and
woo, doggy. Yeah, we lost audio now and the whole bit, but you get the picture. Brody Wells, Powell, Wyoming, a 90 on that Sankey horse. Sankey always bringing the best stock. Let's go to the Zoom room and see what Jim Magagna is up to. We're going to talk about cows and how scaredy they get with wolves around. I mean, cows, as you can imagine, bovine don't like wolves, and they're not contentedly chewing their cud when wolves are around. That just stands to reason. Any rancher will tell you that, but now we have the actual science behind it. Jim, was this a surprise to you that a study showed wolves stress cows out? Just being around cows. Now, you don't, plus you got the predation, the loss to wolf, but just having wolves around cows, they don't put on weight. They're stressed out.
Jake, that's just the story we've known in Wyoming ever since the wolves were returned to the state 30 years ago, that cattle producers have seen that impact where the wolves cause the uneasiness, cause the cattle to keep moving. Obviously, the ones that are killed, we have evidence of that, and that gets a lot of attention. But many of our producers have talked about weight gains have been diminished because cattle are being disturbed by wolves. Pregnancy rates have declined because of that. So the impact on the cattle is far more than just the ones that the wolves put down. And one other element I think is important that this study doesn't address, but that is as these cattle are forced to bunch up and move around more and be somewhat self-defensive against the wolves, that can have a negative impact on the rangeland resource too, on the production of forage on the rangelands.
Yeah. Instead of getting a nice spread out grazing, you got them grazing all in one area because they're all packed up trying to defend themselves against the wolf.
Exactly.
Yeah. This story, by the way, Mark Hines' story of the Cowboy State Daily shows a study of that took place in California, where we don't normally think of wolves, but they've sort of crept in from Oregon, and California is finding out the same thing Wyoming has about the bears and the wolves. They're nice to think about having around, but there are impacts. There are real stuff, and they are a headache for ranchers.
Well, that is certainly true, and we're seeing it all over. I mean, the wolves that returned to Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, we as a state had no real control over that. We were influential in fixing how they'd be managed, but we couldn't keep the wolves from being brought in because that was federal action. And now we have states like Colorado and California and Oregon that are encouraging or implementing wolf reintroduction to spread that wolf population out, and the impact in our industry is just becoming more widespread.
Well, I mean, it's not my intention to be anti-wolf, but I do understand the challenges of the ag industry, the beef industry. By the way, Jim Magagna, Executive Vice President, Wyoming Stock Growers Association. Yeah, Jim, what about, let me ask you something a little off topic, but it's right in your wheelhouse. As a sheepman down in the Rock Spring days, what is a predator for sheep? We talk about a wolf on cows. Certainly that is, you could visualize that. For sheep, oh my goodness, it's probably coyotes. Coyotes can do some sheep predation.
Well, certainly coyotes are the broadest predator on sheep, and that's something that's been going on for generations. We've learned to deal with it to some degree using various tools, such as, of course, tools to remove coyotes, aerial hunting of coyotes, etc., and more recently, the extensive use of guardian dogs that protect the sheep from coyotes, and that's been fairly effective. Wolves just are a next level of challenge because they're more protected in most places, many places. Those tools aren't as effective. And you mentioned my operation. About 5 years after wolves were reintroduced into Yellowstone National Park, a wolf pack moved down into my area, and over a 2-year period, I lost 61 head of sheep to wolves. And then the pack was finally removed, and I haven't had any direct experiences since then, but others have it every year and put up with that. And now, of course, we add on top of all of that the grizzly bear.
Yeah. So, Jim, in California, you mentioned restriction. In California, you cannot shoot wolves that are eating on your cows. You got to go through the channels of government. In many parts of Wyoming, you do have that recourse, and many ranchers swear by that being effective. If you can lethally remove wolves from eating on your cows, it has kind of a lasting effect. The pack learns pretty quick. We can't eat wolves. We can't eat cows here. What would you like to see in Wyoming?
Well, what we have in Wyoming has worked pretty well, and we work very hard after wolves were brought in here. Wyoming is the only state that has, even today, a plan whereby in most of the state the wolves are a predator and they can be removed by anyone at any time. And that certainly doesn't mean that every rancher is out there keeping track of how many wolves they can kill, but it means that if they feel threatened by them, they don't need to seek any prior permission or anything, they can remove them. It's a little different in northwestern Wyoming. They can still remove wolves that are predating on livestock, but they have to follow a process in those areas to do it. And that's worked well generally for Wyoming. What we gave up in return for having that flexibility is in the area where the predators, as long as they're delisted, there's no right to compensation for livestock that are killed by wolves. And so it's on one side we gained some ability for more control, on the other side we lost perhaps some opportunity for some compensation. But overall, I believe that's worked fairly well in Wyoming. But you get in these other states, and as you say, you can't just kill a wolf, and it's a very complex process to even get the ability to remove a wolf that's causing predation. We're seeing that in Colorado right now. Be frank, some of my friends in Colorado, when they see a wolf, they hope they can entice it to cross the border into Wyoming because they know that we'll take care of it in Wyoming.
Yeah. Jim Magagna is with us. One last thing while we have you, Jim. What are you hearing the latest on drought and its effect on the hay crop, which is, of course, its effect on all our beef producers and all our livestock folks in Wyoming? Still in troublesome time. What's going on lately?
Still very troublesome in most of Wyoming. A few small areas have had some reasonable relief, but hay production is going to be down. Prices are going to be up. The cost of transporting hay any great distances due to fuel costs on that, it's up significantly. The most concerning thing to me is that just numerous ranchers with whom I visit have sold off part of their cow herds. It isn't going to be affordable to feed them hay in the winter, and even in some cases they'd have to feed hay in the summer and fall due to lack of pasture. And the cow market is, thank goodness, exceptionally high. So short term, it can be important and productive for cash flow to sell off part of your herd. But you can sell them off in one day. It takes several years to build them back. And that's where we're focused right now, and hoping that once we can get a return to some reasonable moisture, some forage production, that we can help people to build the herds back up.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Jim, is putting the herds back. You certainly are enticed to sell. The price is good. The drought is here. Everything starts mathing, the maths, and you're like, I'm selling off more than I ever would, maybe the whole herd. But then you have the decision to put them back, even if weather complied, even if we had a great season next. Many ranchers got to be asking themselves, am I still in this? I don't know if my kids want to do it. I got a developer who wants to buy the land. Boy, that's scary.
Well, you're certainly raising all the issues that we deal with on a daily basis. And certainly we hope that the prices and that will incentivize people to rebuild these herds, because the last thing that we want as an industry, and the last thing that the state of Wyoming wants, is to lose these traditional multi-generational family ranches and have this land acquired by others who have different objectives through ownership of the land than we have had over generations.
Absolutely. Jim Magagna is with us. Jim, thanks for stopping in. That story, by the way, California's study showing that, Cows are stressed out when wolves are around. Any rancher could have told you that. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Appreciate it always, Jake.
Have a great Wednesday. We'll be right back with a swamp moose after this.
Are you still throwing money at boring advertising that nobody remembers? Cowboy State Daily Radio is where Wyoming talks, laughs, debates, and actually pays attention. Your customers are not only listening, they're talking about the news of the day. So why not put your business in the middle of the conversation? From sponsored interviews to powerhouse statewide campaigns, Cowboy State Daily Radio delivers your message with an exclusive Wyoming reach. Contact Piper Fenimore today at piper@cowboystatedaily.com.
You're listening to the Cowboy State Daily Radio Network.
Wyoming is a place of unlimited potential, a place that inspires us to dream. Since 2014, Wyo Lotto has given back over $180 million to our great state through transfers, winnings, commissions, and more. Dollars that have gone directly into your cities, towns, and counties. Dollars that have changed lives and set dreams in motion. Thank you, Wyoming, for a legendary 10 years. We can't wait to dream up what's next.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/team up.
And we're back. Cowboy State Daily Show with Jake. And joining us are the Knoxes, Steve, Bridger. Bridger's the littler one. He's 9, right? Are you still 9?
Yes.
Speak up.
Okay, seriously, Bridger, you have way too much time on your hands. With the whole swamp moose thing, if any of our listeners were in the Bighorns was this over 4th of July week? You were there a couple weeks, yeah?
Yeah.
Over like 4th of July, and you go there every time. This is where you go pretty much to the same place for weeks of camping in the Bighorns. I mean, who wouldn't want to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if folks were there and they were driving around and they maybe saw something that looked like a bush was moving, and the bush had, for the first time this summer, like moose antlers. It could have been a swamp moose, or it could have been Bridger. Hard to tell. Not the first year you've done this or thought of this, right? Did you do it last year?
I did do it last year.
Where did you get the ghillie suit? A lot of folks don't even know what a ghillie suit is, but where did you even get this?
So our aunt brought it last year. So I think she thought that it was going to be like fun and exciting, and like all of the littles can like have like play in it and like pretend to be like a bush and shrubs.
So the aunt is partially to blame here as well.
Always.
Uh-huh. I suspect it. So, tell me exactly what you did. Wait, so you did it the first time last summer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And what did you do? Where did you go? You're camped there. You're in the Bighorns, pretty popular area. You were this year. Where were you exactly?
This year we were at Porcupine Campground.
Oh, yeah. Here's the sign. Here's Bridger, otherwise known as, Swamp Moose. So last year when you did it, how many, who notices? People driving or people like other campers? Who stopped and noticed you?
There was a lot of people. There were a lot of people like there's a moose not very far away from our camp.
A real moose, yeah.
A real moose. And my dad thought that it would be funny because his friend brought up a moose antler. And so did my aunt. She brought up the ghillie suit. And he made up the idea of putting the antler on my head, like me just holding it on my head while I was in the ghillie suit. And I walked up to the fence, and tour buses stopped, cars stopped, campers stopped. A whole lot of people stopped and got out of their cars, took pictures.
Oh, yeah. Bear jam immediately. Swamp moose jam. If you've been to Yellowstone, you know when a couple of vehicles are pulled over, there must be something to see, especially if the cameras are out. So did you give them any kind of a show? Did you do anything when you noticed they stopped?
Really, what I did was just sit on the fence and didn't really know.
The best part of Bridger's act is that he doesn't do anything. He doesn't acknowledge you. He walks right past you, and he just acts like the world is moving around him.
Yeah, so he's very natural. He doesn't play it up too hard. Yeah, some actors overact. I like the way you did this. You're just hanging out, and that's all it takes. Now, I thought maybe you found the moose antler there from the actual real moose, but no, that was brought to camp.
A friend of ours who is a rancher in the area found it on the mountain.
Oh. All right. Those things are heavy. I had a moose paddle once. They're very heavy. Let me see how big it
Brought
is.
it in too.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool. All right. So the legend of Swamp Moose lives on thanks to Steve and Bridger Knox. Steve, you encourage this kind of behavior? Shouldn't this kid be back in school?
Heck yeah, I encourage it. Yeah. Let's go have some fun. Make people laugh and smile. You know,
I love it.
Let's do all the things we can to have a great time.
All right. So a repeat performance next year?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be up in the where do you live, by the way? You're like in Cheyenne, yes?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, and you come out. Man, I so love the Bighorns. I'm in Jackson right now, which is not too bad to look at. We got some mountains, but I'll be heading to Buffalo. I'm going to move to Buffalo in a couple months, so the Bighorns will be right there. Where should I go? Porcupine Creek?
That's a good spot. Actually, next year we'll be camping above Buffalo, so we're going to change it up a little bit.
No way. Wouldn't that be so cool if I saw you guys, if I saw it? Here's another photo I'm going to share of Bridger doing Swamp Moose. And it does, I mean, it's a photo, not a video, but it does look like you're just standing there. Like if I didn't know it, you're not doing anything, like doing backflips or anything. You're just standing there. But if it catches your eye driving, you're like, what the heck did I just see? And of course, you're going to hit the brakes and see what it is.
That's right.
All right. Well, we got to find a way to monetize this is all that's left. How are we going to make money doing this?
Right. If you get any ideas, let us know.
Yeah.
I might have to. All right. It's Steve Knox, Bridger Knox. Bridger reinventing that swamp moose. Last year, it wasn't the moose. It was just swamp something.
It was swamp moose last year.
It was swamp moose. Yeah.
Oh, you had the thing last year too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So 2 years. Swamp Moose, the legend lives. The Cowboy State Daily story you can go read from Andrew Rossi, who of course covers all things bizarre. And this is right in there. Hey, thanks for being on, guys.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Steve, Bridger, Knox, Swamp Moose, and the Bighorns over the holiday break. 4th of July, maybe you saw it. Our listeners, readers, maybe you caught a glimpse of it. And Andrew Rossi giving the heads up as to what it was. It's just Bridger with some extra time and some imagination and a ghillie suit, because who doesn't go camping with a ghillie suit? Did you remember the s'mores? Did you remember the tent, your sleeping bag, and the ghillie suit? It's on the checklist. Maybe. We're going to see what Ray Hageman is doing at Game and Fish, and then I'm going to give you the latest update on where you should or should not be fishing as temperature rises. Water temps are rising. Some rivers and creeks are consistently 70 degrees or above, and that's just not good for trout. And Game and Fish is suggesting some waterways should be off limits for angling right now. It's just too warm. Although it looks like Don Day is cooking up some storms for us, a little bit of relief. We'll check that out right after we hear from Ray Hageman and the Game and Fish report.
Wyoming Fisheries received a helping hand this past spring from Wyoming school kids who raised and then stocked rainbow trout in public fisheries. That's next on the Wyoming Outdoorsman. I'm Ray Hageman. Stay tuned. Hundreds of trout found homes in Wyoming waters thanks to students and teachers participating in a conservation education program. Trout in the Classroom is a partnership between the Wyoming Game and Fish Department and Trout Unlimited. It's where students and teachers raise rainbow trout in their classrooms over the course of a semester. This year, 70 schools throughout the state were selected to participate with more than 5,500 student caretakers. Classrooms receive trout eggs from Game and Fish in January, then raise them throughout the semester while learning concepts of ecology, population biology, water quality, fish anatomy, and conservation. Niobrara County school teacher Lisa Pazinski says, "I think the program is fantastic overall, and our kids learned a lot and had a great time." She says it was nice for them to be able to see the life cycle up close. It was a great engagement and learning activity for our kids, and they appreciated the reward of getting to take a field trip during the school day to release the trout. Once the trout reached the fingerling stage, participants released their fish into a nearby designated pond under the supervision of Game and Fish personnel. Releases took place in May within 24 designated community fisheries across the state. Bringing fish directly into classrooms helps students develop a new understanding and appreciation for their local fisheries and aquatic life cycles, and the program reinforces science curriculum by providing hands-on experience. Teachers have access to customizable lesson plans that guide students through the life cycle of a trout and can tailor the program to meet their curriculum needs. Trout in the Classroom is an opportunity to engage students in hands-on STEM activities, exposing them to the natural environment and conservation careers. The program is ideal for students in 3rd through 12th grade and is open to any classroom in Wyoming. Schools must apply during the fall semester in order to be part of the program. Teachers who are interested in learning more about the program can complete the Trout in the Classroom interest form on the Game and Fish webpage. The Wyoming Outdoorsman is a program produced by the Wyoming Game and Fish Department. Thanks for listening. I'm Ray Hageman.
Daily Morning Show with Jake. Now, back to the show.
Yeah, and more on the Wyoming Game and Fish. They're urging anglers to adjust their fishing practices. Certainly you want to fish during the cooler times of the day. That's better on you, the fisher person, and it's better on the trout as well, better for the trout. So fish early morning, maybe late in the day, although boy, it really isn't cooling down until the sun is flat out gone. So early morning fishing the way to go. Don't play the fish for too long. Try to land them quickly. Try to keep them in the water as long as you can, as much as you can. Net them and keep them in the water. And then, release them. You know how to release the fish. Try not to handle them with your bare hands. Wet your hands first. And then make sure the fish is revived enough before you let it go. Some of these water temps are exceeding 70 degrees or approaching 70 degrees. And that's kind of the cutoff point. When you hit 70, Game and Fish is going to just close down certain waterways for fishing. Right now, adjust your practices on all rivers and streams and creeks. And then Game and Fish is asking for a voluntary closure in some waters up in Johnson County, in the Bud Love area in Buffalo, Muddy Guard number 1, all those fisheries and fishing places in Johnson County. They're voluntary, avoid these areas. And we're getting to that point soon, probably in the Middle Fork of the Powder River. Local creeks in that area, and even the Tongue River is now having temperatures of concern, nearing temperatures of concern. The North Platte, down where it runs the border of Wyoming, Colorado, that's also seeing a voluntary restriction. Please avoid that. If you don't need to be fishing it, don't fish it. If you really care about trout, give them a break. The North Platte, right there on the state border. Visitation so far in this, what are we, halfway? Don't tell me we're halfway through summer. Early summer, right? Early summer visitation right now, if the numbers are any indication, and if these numbers keep up, we'll probably see record visitation in Yellowstone National Park and Grand Teton National Park. I already predicted, and I can go back and find the show where I said it months ago. I said, this is going to be the year that we've topped for the first time ever 5 million visitors to Yellowstone National Park. We've come close. We've been in the high 4s. I think this is the year. This is the year we get to the Magic 5. Grand Teton also, from the early summer tourism push, many are saying ahead of schedule, probably looking at record visitation in Grand Teton National Park. And then flipping back to Game and Fish, after consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Wyoming Game and Fish captured, relocated a female grizzly bear back on July 17th. The grizz was caught cattle depredation. That's, of course, eating cattle. Sublette County, that's that upper Green River area. It's problematic. Almost every summer, there's a grizz cow conflict in the upper Green, and almost every time these grizz get moved to kind of the southeast border of Yellowstone National Park. In this case, the grizzly bear was relocated to 5 Mile Creek drainage, about 5 miles from the east entrance of Yellowstone National Park. Grizzly bear relocation, they give you about, 1 or 2 strikes and you're out. Sometimes these grizz make it right back to where they were and get back into their old habits. Sometimes the relocation is effective. Travel and Leisure Stories says a new survey says we're at our worst behavior. Guess where? Where do 92% of Americans admit to bad behavior when we're at fill in the blank? Las Vegas? That would have been my first guess. No. A new survey shows 92% of Americans admit to bad beach behavior. When we're at the beach, we're at our worst. And the 2025 survey from beach.com, and the report is in Travel and Leisure, shows 92% of beachgoers admit to at least one bad beach habit. And I, before I read further, I was trying to conjure what would be bad beach behavior, like stealing a towel or stealing your spot on the beach, or putting your clothes in the ocean. Like I couldn't imagine what bad beach behavior is. And then it all makes sense when you read further in. And number one on the list, loud music. Okay, being the bad neighbor, right? Being the bad towel mate, the guy next one over, and playing loud music. Removing sand or shells, which, depending on, the beach you're at, is a no-no, similar to removing objects from a national park. That's a no. Many of Americans said they take part in at least one of three, if not all three, shameless beach behaviors. It includes loud music, taking stuff from the beach, and here we go, peeing in the water. Oh, it's out there now. Peeing in the water, in the ocean. 92% of your fellow Americans admit to at least one of these three bad behaviors, if not all. So, yeah, now you know. Let's see what's going on in rodeo with the Rodeo Roadshow.
It's the Rodeo Roadshow on the Western Ag Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Will Rasmussen. It's been a whirlwind couple of weeks, and the latest big rodeo that I just flew in from is the California Rodeo Salinas, the 116th edition of Top 20 Rodeo in the world. They call it a rodeo. We will talk about the winners when we come back.
In the heart of cowboy country, legends rise. Saturday, August 1st, Sentinel Butte hosts the 70th annual Champions Ride Saddle Bronc match, a PRCA-sanctioned battle of grit, power, and tradition. The dust flies, the crowd roars, the toughest broncs and the boldest riders go head-to-head. Grab your seat in the open-air arena, bid on your rider at the Live Calcutta, and support a powerful cause at home on the range. It all begins at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, August 1st. Tickets and info at hotrnd.com.
Ranchers, when pounds still equal dollars, don't let shrinkage on shipping days sacrifice your profitability. Hi, this is Shane from Western Ranch Supply. Depending on the distance, weather, stress, and other factors, shrink can be anywhere from 7 to 8% when transported to an off-site scale. Let Western Ranch Supply help with a rice lake scale that's easy to use, durable, NTEP approved, and legal for trade. Check out a Rice Lake scale at one of our stores in Billings or Great Falls.
Been a whirlwind couple of weeks from Greeley, Colorado to Big Fork, Montana, Sheridan, Wyoming, then take a flight out to Salinas, but so very blessed to be able to have a job I love. As a matter of fact, I have this job, which I love, and announcing rodeos, which I love as well, and able to keep you up to date on what's going on in the world of rodeo and bring you some rodeo stars. Leighton Berry of Texas, a recent guest on the Rodeo Roadshow, won the bareback riding event at the California Rodeo Salinas. Chowchilla, California's Stan Branco was the steer wrestling winner. And in the team roping event, the brothers Graham from Alberta, Canada, Dawson and Dylan Graham, won that huge contest. Darcy Rattle from Australia, the saddle bronc riding winner by a half a point. It's Shad Mayfield, Money Mayfield, New Mexico, the world champion tie-down roper, wins the tie-down roping. Josie Connor from Louisiana, she was the breakaway roping champion. Trisha Aldridge from Texas, riding the highest money-earning stallion ever. Adios Pantalones, remember that one? She wins it. TJ Gray wins the bull riding. I'm Will Rasmussen on the Western Ag Network.
Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. Now, back to the show.
And one final story before we leave you. I love this one from the Cowboy State Daily. Mark Hines writes, Yellowstone tourists were pretty sure they caught a glimpse of a bear doing you know what in the woods, but it was not a bear. It was 6-year-old German Shepherd Mia, owned by Arizona residents Lulu and Victor. They admitted their German Shepherd is pretty shaggy, and he is pretty big. I share a photo of him here with the fam. 95-pound German Shepherd. He is so shaggy. I could see why some Yellowstone tourists stopped and thought they saw a bear doing you know what in the woods, but it was just a German Shepherd. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you same time tomorrow on the Cowboy State Daily Show.
Good morning. This is the Cowboy State Daily Morning Show with Jake. The new way Wyoming